national issue and put together a group of people and drilled it down into practical and enforceable and important changes in policies that will create an environment that our students will learn better in. As Stephen referenced, taking away that sort of intangible aura of threat, I think will have repercussions and an effect that we'll never be able to quantify, but I think they'll be extremely real and ultimately benefit all of our students. So thank you. This is the kind of leadership that really makes me proud to be a part of this system. So thank you all for all those of you who had a part in it.
Thank you. Member Aguinaldo.
Thank you, President Haynes. My comments echo Member Perry's, although I don't have a one-eyed barking dog in the background. I was reading the
Hildy,
call to action report.
you can borrow her, Hildy, trust me.
I'm happy to have her. I was reading the call to action report that was listed or the Policing Task Force recommendations report that was listed in the board meeting materials. And it says that the first call to action was a California Community Colleges system-wide review of law enforcement officer and first responder training and curriculum. And I really found it interesting how this task force work in this particular agenda item really allows us to walk the talk. We're not just talking about improving systemic racism in a vacuum or in theory. We are asking our police officers on our campuses to be a part of a community policing system. So I just wanted to highlight and zoom out a little bit on how monumental I think this work is. And then as a second note, I just wanted to thank our speakers again, particularly Chief Wade and to Stephen. I can attest that Stephen is a giant human being. We went on a campus tour together, and standing next to each other makes for quite the juxtaposition. But he's also somebody with an incredibly kind heart, and I'm just really proud to see his excellent work demonstrated in this task force among many other task force, I'm sure.
Thank you. Member Hall, you have a question.
Yeah, just follow up. So are the officers that we're talking about, are they hired by the community college districts or campuses, or are we contracting with agencies who bring officers onto the campus?
It's both, actually. So there are the local districts are authorized to create their own police department, hire their own chief, and keep it within the confines of the community college district with some overlap. But there are other districts that choose or cannot operate their own departments, and so contract for policing services with the local police department or sheriff, depending on which one is the right jurisdiction.
And do we know if problems that have arisen are more with the outside agencies we hire to bring in, or with our officers hired directly by the community college system?
We haven't been able to quantify that, although we did start down that road. But my understanding is that there are practice improvements that are needed in both areas.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
And I would like just to add, there's a third group, and those are security guards that are not post-certified as well. So we've got a big system with a lot of colleges doing different things. And one of the things that happens here, it's recognizing all of that complexity in how we designed, or the chancellor's office designed and the task force designed the recommendations, but also it allows all of our campuses and colleges to operationalize it in a way that makes some sense and gives them some teeth in order to do that. And then I have Member Anderson, who has a hand raised.
Thank you. Just as background, my dad, for the chief, if she's still on, is now 85, the former undersheriff of Sonoma County. And my old man was part of a group in 1971 and 72 at the University of Chicago that actually wrote the original document on community-based policing. And he spent 32 years training for post created the executive training program, the new sheriff's program, that type of thing. So I want to say to everybody, as somebody that grew up in a law enforcement household, somebody that listened to principles of training his whole period growing up, I want to commend the task force for the work that they did. I know in my dad's practice, in his own work, the key to community-based policing is communications and including everybody at the table. And I love the work that Mark did, and I thought he was a really great facilitator. And I will just tell you, because a number of questions have come up with regard to contracting agencies. My dad, when he was under sheriff, had a total of 13 contracted agencies in Sonoma County. It's a very difficult thing to do. And that's why I think the chancellor's office is going to continue to monitor, and you will get pushback from those contracting agencies, and they will inherently not instill the type of morals that this board wants. And so I know that we don't want to overreact with regard to pulling funding and so forth, but as a guy that grew up in this lifestyle and you know, my dad being an expert that he was, I think we have to have teeth. I think we have to constantly being evaluated, an annual state of policing every year that that we go ahead and look at. But I do want to say to the chief and to Stephen, thank you for all that you did and everybody else on the task force. It was truly impressive.
Pam, you're muted. We can't hear you.
So sorry. I'm going to ask again before we close this out if there's any public comment.
There are no hands raised at this time.
All right. So since there's no additional public comment who would like to speak on this matter, the hearing, I'm sorry, I'm trying to read a script and it makes no sense. The hearing is now closed. And I'm going to bang my closing the gavel. And so this concludes the public hearing on this matter. I want to thank everyone for your questions, your comments, and that you've raised. And I'm sure this is not a vote. This is a first reading. It will come back to us at the next board meeting. I want to make note of the time. It is 1:54 and we're operating about 25 minutes behind schedule because we've tried to time this in order to honor our time with you. So I just want to try to keep us as much on time as we possibly can. So we're now going to information reports. We've had one already in 6.1. We're now moving to 6.2, which is the 2021-22 Exemplary Program Award. And we have Executive Vice Chancellor Alvarado. This has become your show, Marty. And we have several presenters. We do have stars on this presentation.
We do. Thank you, President Haynes. Yes, I'll try not to make it a habit. Thank you. Again, I'm Marty Alvarado, Executive Vice Chancellor for Educational Services here at the Chancellor's Office. I am joined in this item by the esteemed ASCCC President, Dolores Davison. Very excited to have an opportunity to bring these awards to you. This is item 6.2, the 21-22 Exemplary Program Award. What I want to note here before I hand it over to President Davison to introduce our awardees is really just set a little bit of framing for this board. You know, as we continue to shift our systems and structures, we also have to make sure that we are investing the time in celebrating those who are on the front lines, recognizing those who are in the thick of the work day to day with students, really trying to make a difference both in shifting the systems and as well as supporting students where they are given our current systems. I also really want to take this opportunity to recognize the leadership of the Academic Senate, the statewide Academic Senate, and their ongoing efforts to really strengthen and implement with fidelity the guided pathways reforms that are a priority for this board and for the Vision for Success, and their focus on instructional resiliency for our system, really helping to strengthen and reinforce instructional resiliency for our system. So with that, President Davison, let me hand it to you to get this show going.
Thank you very much, Executive Vice Chancellor Alvarado. Good afternoon, Board President Haynes, Vice President Costa, members of the Board of Governors, Chancellor Oakley, and everyone on the call. I'm Dolores Davison. I'm the President of the Academic Senate for California Community Colleges. I'm joined today by my colleague, Michelle Bean, who is the Academic Senate Treasurer, and we are presenting the Exemplary Award recipients. Before I begin, I want to thank, as always, the Foundation for the California Community Colleges for the cash award that was made for the prize winners here. This year's theme for the Exemplary Award was addressing inequity in a time of crisis. This is one of 3 major awards that we give out in an academic year. Can I have the next slide, please? Thank you so much. The Hayward Award is for outstanding faculty. The Regina Stanback Stroud Diversity Award, which we have awarded for a number of years, is specifically around diversity, equity, inclusion, and now anti-racism efforts at our colleges. And so we'll do all 3 of those awards this year. Today, we're doing the Exemplary Program Award. I have the 2 winners on the call with me, and they will talk very briefly about their programs. And then at the end, I will mention the 2 honorable mentions, but in the interest of time and recognizing that you have timed this very, very well, they will not speak. I'll just mention them. So our first speaker from Mount San Antonio College is Sage Overroy. And Sage, I know you're here. I saw you. Can I have the next slide, please? Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sage Overroy. I'm the Director of Education for Older Adults and Adults with Disabilities at Mount SAC. First, I want to say thank you to the Board of Governors, to ASCCC, and to the Community College Foundation for recognizing the Adults with Disabilities, or the IMPACT program, with this award. Also, thank you to Mount SAC for supporting this program, to Academic Senate, the Board of Trustees, President Bill Scroggins, Provost Madeline Arbayo, and Dean Tammy Pearson. Also, thank you to Mary Lang, the previous director who was the visionary for this program, and to Brizeda Ramirez, our full-time faculty. She's our first ever full-time faculty in the program, and she has been a real leader and advocate for our students. Finally, thank you to all of the Adults with Disabilities or IMPACT program faculty and staff. They have worked tirelessly to keep the program up and running throughout the pandemic, and their efforts have really been invaluable to the students that we serve. The Adults with Disabilities or IMPACT program is part of the School of Continuing Education. We offer specialized courses designed to promote the development of self-determination, college and career readiness, and independent living skills among individuals with developmental and intellectual disabilities. There are over 10,000 individuals with ID or DD in the Mount SAC service area, and most of those individuals do not have access to post-secondary education. Research has shown that students with disabilities who have a college experience have higher expectations and better life outcomes in terms of employment and independence. So the IMPACT program aims to address this gap by offering a college experience to these students. Our faculty prepare students with the skills they need for employment, independent living, participating in college life, and community involvement. I'm going to conclude with just a few comments from students in the program. First, from Vandana, I love the IMPACT program because it's designed to my individual needs. The teachers are nice, patient, and polite. They are very resourceful and help us too. They incorporate our individual objectives and goals. Next, from Christian, the classes are good for new students. It helps them get started for college, and when they're ready, they will start doing credit classes. Then from Nada, IMPACT is a great program. We learned a lot, especially during the pandemic. Instructors are always so helpful. They explain the lessons in an interesting and loving way, so you always want to come back again and again. And finally, from Patrick, I love the IMPACT program because the teachers deliver high quality teaching with thoughtfully prepared class material, homework, and encouragement to all students. The romantic relationship, money skills, and lifelong learning classes have helped me to be more independent, have life skills, express my feelings, and prepare me to get a job next year. I love Miss B, Miss K, Miss J, and Dr. Laura's classes. Thank you again for the support and the recognition of the Adults with Disabilities and Impact Program.
Thank you so much, Sage. Our second award winner is from De Anza College, and that is Patricia Guitron is the person who is representing De Anza. Go ahead, Patricia.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. I am Patricia Huitron. I'm a counselor at De Anza and one of Guided Pathways co-coordinators. So thank you for this opportunity to allow us to present to you today. I'm very happy to be here. Our Guided Pathways goals began as an effort to meet the state objectives. We began with the mapping project, which resulted in 75 content experts and counselors completing 157 program maps and 55 transfer maps. But at De Anza, Guided Pathways evolved into a project much bigger than we had expected. In summer 2021, we hired nearly 60 De Anza employees to manage 4 areas. Our student focus team uses students and student-centered programs to collect and disseminate narrative data from both underprepared students and those who flourished in programs. The focus team has interviewed hundreds of students and hired 15 to support the development of Guided Pathways programs across campus. Our intersegmental team is partnering with local area high schools and local adult schools, not only to better serve students transitioning into college, but also to forge relationships between instructors to combine and refine our goals for our shared students, especially now in light of AB 705. Our village team, they divided students into villages based on meta majors, creating a space for connection and support for students and employees. The villages hold mixers, workshops, and career panels based on meta major subjects. While this space is now virtual, it will soon become 6 live spaces on campus where students can find like-minded friends and colleagues, attend events, meet with employees from across disciplines and services, and find community. And last but not least, our think tank, our student-ready rapid response team. They were formed to respond to the needs of our students during this turbulent time, though it too has grown beyond our expectations. Their many projects include on-campus Zoom spaces, indoors and outdoors, automatic disbursement of certificates and degrees, a program for our students who have been justice involved, a program for our students who were formerly in the foster care system, and a series of conferences aimed at professional development through and for Guided Pathways. This program began as a state-funded mandate, but driven by our enthusiastic campus community, it exploded into a much larger project. We keep program sustainability at the forefront by planning for how to integrate our systems into the existing fabric of the college. The biggest successes have come from our support of agency, leadership, and accountability from each person and every group on campus. The teams are visible and the goals are clear. We are foremost student-centered, but we are also equity-minded for the entire campus community. We encourage spirited participation through honesty, transparency, equity, and inclusion across the campus. And we are open to everyone who wants to have a voice in changing our structural and cultural environment. Inviting all people in to do this work has resulted in a passion rarely seen on a campus program or project. We have embraced a platform of equality and equity to spur innovation, creativity, and support our college. None of this would be possible without the dedicated support of Sarah Wallace, Sal Brighter, Kim Palmore, Brian Malone, Anu Khanna, Lydia Hearn, all of the team leads and members, our core team, and of course, our larger community of De Anza employees and students. So thank you again for allowing us to present, and thank you so much for this recognition. Thank you.
Thank you, Patricia, and congratulations. The 2 honorable mentions that we awarded this year went to Rio Hondo's Division of Arts and Culture Programs, which I had a chance to read the applications, and it's pretty spectacular what they've done. The second honorable mention, next slide, went to Reedley College for their coffee, tea, and guided pathways professional development opportunity that they've been doing and doing really, really well. In fact, we modeled much of our GP work in terms of having chats in the afternoons and things like that after Reedley's program. So a tremendous work by both those schools. I want to thank everyone who read applications. We had a significant number of them this year. I think something about the theme attracted a lot of people. And so they were terrific applications, and we're very, very proud of the award winners. Thank you so much. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so much for that presentation, and kudos and congratulations to all of the awardees. And so I'm going to open this up to our board members if they have any comments.
I've stunned you all into silence. Excellent.
Well, yes, and we're in awe. One of the things that I will just add is I really appreciate these awards because it lets us know what's happening on our campuses and the stellar work that is being done. And it's a reminder that good work is happening on our campuses. So again, congratulations and thank you so much for sharing your work with us on behalf of our students. We're now going to open it up to public comment. Is there any public comment?
The public comment period for item 6.2 is now open. Please use the raise hand feature to make a comment on this item. If you're calling into the meeting, press *9. You'll have a maximum of 3 minutes. This item did not receive any comments, and I will hand it over to Gary for any hands raised.
I do have a hand raised. I see, oh, you know what? I no longer have a hand raised, so I do not see any public comment at this time.
Well, thank you so much. So we're going to move on to our next item, which is 6.3, Vision for Success Spotlight, California Community Colleges Workforce Programs, Leading California's Recovery with Equity. And again, we have EVC Alvarado presenting.
I think you're muted, Marty.
Just kidding. Thank you. Had to at least do it once in this meeting. Thank you, President Haynes. Still Marty Alvarado, Executive Vice Chancellor at the Chancellor's Office, and very, very excited to be able to bring this item to the board, the Vision for Success Spotlight, really highlighting our workforce development programs. In the interest of time, I will try to keep my comments very brief. I am joined this afternoon by Interim Vice Chancellor Sandra Sanchez, who will be co-presenting with me and introducing our campus presenters. So as you all know, the Workforce Development Division and investments for our system are significant and an incredibly unique asset for our system. As we really look at leaning into the vision goals, where we need to be going next to really maximize the outcomes for the vision goals, but also the state's efforts to recover with equity, recognizing who our student population is and how our system changes lives. We want to make sure that we are leaning into our workforce development efforts, integrating, leveraging this moment of realignment within the Chancellor's Office to really make sure that we are maximizing these resources. This item that we are bringing with you is one of a two-part series, if you will, that we anticipate. So we do anticipate bringing the topic of workforce development back to this board in an upcoming meeting. What we really wanted to lean into here in this first iteration, though, is the practice that is happening across our campuses. There is a tremendous amount of effort underway, both pre-pandemic and accelerated and mobilized with during the pandemic, to really focus on how do we get more students into employment and how do we bring employment and learning together in order to maximize the time that students have with us and the outcomes that that time with us yields. So with that, I will hand it over to Interim Vice Chancellor Sanchez to tee up our presenters and showcase the great work that is happening across our campuses.
Thank you, Executive Vice Chancellor Alvarado, Board President Haynes, and members of the board, and of course, Chancellor Oakley. My name is Sandra Sanchez, and I'm the Interim Vice Chancellor for the Workforce and Economic Development Division. Today, I will update you on the work that has been taking place in the Workforce Development Division. As many of you know, workforce development is the intersection between theory and application, oriented around the real-world application of knowledge, often specific to an industry rather than an academic discipline, and is intentionally focused on specific occupations. Meeting and exceeding all of the vision goals is going to take a comprehensive and strategic change in the way we approach economic and workforce development across our system. As we move to continue to evolve our system structures and focus on successful student outcomes, we have an opportunity to leverage the unique assets of the system's workforce development investments and efforts. Maximizing these assets will require the integration of core workforce practices, really pushing towards these practices becoming part of the fabric of every institution in our system. In service of this integration goal, I want to highlight 4 key strategies that we see as necessary for achieving the vision goals. 1 is building system capacity to be market responsive by expanding a college's ability to ensure that adult learners and incumbent workers' lifelong learning needs are met. 2, regional collaboration and coordination efforts to ensure the necessary infrastructure required for student success. 3, the expansion of earn and learn experiential learning efforts. And 4, strengthen and leverage external partnerships, such as the partnership we have with the California Workforce Development Board. The strategies noted are about meeting all of the vision goals and with a specific emphasis on strengthening the outcomes of vision goal number 4. The first strategy, building systems capacity to be market responsive, requires a multi-phased approach for the system to evolve beyond sector strategies. As part of our efforts to position our colleges to effectively serve the continual upskilling and learning needs of the state's workforce, we must ensure flexible delivery systems are designed to continually refresh curriculum, content, and instructional modalities. Part of this is in order to move from a sector strategy to a cross-discipline competencies approach requires the system's workforce structures to evolve beyond the current model of sector strategies and lean into cross-discipline and agile or bundled competencies. Second, it requires the redesign of our instructional delivery models and content to maximize incumbent worker training and lifelong learning. And third, it also requires the establishment of faculty professional development structures that facilitate the continual review and refresh of curriculum and content. The second strategy of regional collaboration and coordination requires that investments are focused on assisting colleges in building the infrastructure that has not existed to ensure that students have access to internships and job placement services, as well as facilitating experiential learning collaborations with our classroom faculty. Many of our colleges have made local investments utilizing their strong workforce dollars to ensure that they are working towards ensuring employment opportunities for students. The integration of these efforts into the fabric of our institutions will also facilitate better outcomes for students. Today, you're going to learn about some of our strong workforce investments at a regional and local level that have been successful in ensuring that the connections with employers impact the work of our instructional programs to ensure successful student outcomes. The third strategy, the expansion of earn and learn experiential learning programs is a key strategy in ensuring that students achieve positive employment outcomes. Earn and learn and experiential learning programs require faculty to have the capacity to engage with industry partners to ensure student success. Supporting and facilitating these discussions and collaborations ensure that students receive the most current and relevant educational experience possible. This and the regular communication of needs from employers with the faculty ensures that instructional programs are focused on ensuring that students are the best prepared they can be. The facilitation of this collaboration also supports a key element of the social determinants of student success, as introduced at a recent board learning session. Supporting the building of a student's social professional capital allows them the opportunity to access better employment opportunities and ensures positive employment outcomes for students. Think about the last job you got. Did you apply for it? How did you learn about it? Who recommended you? Students of color have historically had unequal access to many employment opportunities. To ensure we are closing equity gaps, it's important to facilitate these opportunities for our students. Earn and learn and experiential learning, similar to project-based learning opportunities, are a very valuable instructional tool for reinforcing and scaffolding content and learner comprehension. It not only provides economically disadvantaged students with access to earning an income while they are studying, but it creates opportunities for students to engage with employers in a way that classroom instruction cannot do alone. In addition to these efforts, we are currently engaged in updating the workforce experience regulations that have not been updated in the past 50 years. The expansion of apprenticeship programs throughout our system with the California Apprenticeship Initiative grants, and collaborations with the California Workforce Development Board to expand high road training partnerships, apprenticeship opportunities, and earn and learn programs. For our system, the gold standard of earn and learn are our apprenticeship programs. These programs have for a very long time proven effective in ensuring positive student outcomes. Today, you will also learn about 2 of our apprenticeship programs that have demonstrated their capacity to yield these positive outcomes for our students. The fourth and final strategy is around partnerships. In 2021, we strengthened our partnership with the California and Labor Workforce Development Agency and embarked in an aggressive effort to create a workforce and jobs recovery with equity partnership strategy that is being deployed with a one-time funding of $143 million in state investments to ensure that our system, and most importantly, our students, reap the benefits. We will highlight the work of these partnerships in a subsequent board item. These strategic changes will ensure that we're able to meet the Vision for Success goals, and specifically goal number 4, to increase employment for students. With that, next you will hear from our colleges who will share with you the great work they're doing to serve our students in the field. And I'm going to briefly introduce them all and in the order that they will be presenting. So from Chaffey College, we have Sandra Cisco, Director of Economic Development and the InTech Center, as well as Natalie Weaver, the manager of the apprenticeship programs and grants. They also bring with them a student speaker, Carlos Morales, who is a maintenance electrician, and he will share his journey through the apprenticeship program. From College of the Canyons, John Milburn, who's the interim vice president of the Division of Workforce and Economic Advancement at College of the Canyons. He will share some insights about their program, as well as 2 student videos demonstrating the success that they've had. To speak about our strong workforce investments, Mission College will present Dr. Par Mohammadian and Dr. Shander Aurora, as well as a student speaker, graduate of one of their program in biotech. And then finally, we will have the MiraCosta College team, Dr. Barbara Juncosa. She is the biotech department chair for their bachelor's degree program. And Dr. Mike Fino, who is the Dean of Math Sciences, as well as a fabulous student speaker who's a graduate of the bachelor's program in biotech at MiraCosta. So with that, I will turn it over to our first presenter.
You're on mute, Sandra.
Just kidding. Thank you, Interim Vice Chancellor Sanchez. Good afternoon, President Haynes, Vice President Acosta, Chancellor Oakley, and the distinguished governing board members and stakeholders. Thank you for the opportunity to share about the success of our students, the successes that they have achieved through our work-based learning registered apprenticeship programs. By partnering with business and industry, we are leveraging this model to accelerate the economic recovery in our region. Chaffey College is located in the Inland Empire region of Southern California. We can go to the next slide, which spans 27,000 square miles and is one of California's largest regions by area because we are located near the ports of LA and still have affordable land. 2 of our biggest industry sectors are e-commerce, logistics, and manufacturing.
For decades, Chaffey College Economic Development has developed partnerships and collaborations with industry, government, and workforce development agencies. All of our training programs are not for credit and therefore do not generate apportionment, and we must rely on grants and contracts that we garner. In 2021, we were awarded $6 million in short-term funding to provide training and services to regional employers and the community. Strong workforce funding and CHI grants have been critical to the expansion of our innovative, non-traditional registered apprenticeship programs. Our partnerships with industry were forged by a significant need to develop a talent pipeline in craft trade careers, which were facing critical shortages. In 2016, we opened the first public-private partnership in the California Community College system. It's known as the Chaffey College Industrial Technical Learning Center, also known as INTEC. We are a 33,000-foot technical training facility located on an employer site in Fontana. In 2018, we made California history when the Division of Apprenticeship Standards approved our first 2 non-traditional competency-based registered apprenticeship program. And then again, in 2019, we were approved as the first pre-apprenticeship program in the state of California. Our competency-based registered apprenticeship programs allow students to advance at their own pace based on their ability to master a job skill or a job competency. Next slide, please. Currently, we have 1 registered pre-apprenticeship program and 3 competency-based registered apprenticeship programs. All registered apprenticeship programs are offered in not for credit. However, the plan is to offer the advanced portions in credit plus award credit for prior learning. All of our programs are designed by industry and are union neutral. 3 years ago, we partnered with employers to develop the Inland Desert Employers Apprenticeship Committee, also known as IDEA, which serves as the sponsor for our registered apprenticeship programs, and Chaffey College serves as the LEA. We meet quarterly to approve and enroll new apprentices and employers and identify new innovative registered apprenticeship occupations to pursue. Our competency-based program is, again, where the apprentice completes at their own pace with their own skill set. The average apprentice completes the entire program in approximately 2 years. Our RA programs, registered apprenticeship programs, are approved at the state and federal level, and therefore each apprentice receives both a state and federal journey level certificate after completion of their apprenticeship program. Next slide, please. Since July 2018, we have registered over 100 apprentices. 30 have completed the program and received their journey level certificate, and 67 are currently enrolled in the program. The average hourly wage for an apprentice is $23.94 an hour. That's a starting wage, which and then their journey level completion wage is about $35.22 an hour, which puts them just over $73,000 a year. When we launched our program in 2018, we had only 5 employer partners committed to registered apprenticeship. In the last 3 years, we have presented the registered apprenticeship model to over 150 employers. And today we have a total of 36 employers participating in apprenticeship. That's about a close ratio of 20%. It can be a challenge for many employers to embed apprenticeships into their company structure. Many employers begin by enrolling their current employees. Additionally, registered apprenticeship programs required an assigned mentor with the 1-to-2 mentor to student ratio, and it can take years for some employers to expand their capacity and double the amount of apprentices on site. The CHI grant enabled us to hire employer engagement liaisons who are critical in educating employers and building partnerships that allow us to job match our pre-apprentice graduates into in-demand, good-paying careers or registered apprenticeships. Next slide. Next, or today, we will hear two different student testimonials. First, you will hear from Carlos Morales. Carlos enrolled into our pre-apprenticeship program while he continued working as a warehouse associate, earning $16 an hour. He excelled in the program and applied for a registered apprenticeship position as an industrial maintenance electrician apprentice at California Steel Industries. Carlos was hired and started with the wage of $24.44. Furthermore, he received a pay increase just 6 months later. Carlos is on track to achieve journey level status and complete his registered apprenticeship program this summer. Let's listen to Carlos tell his story now.
I used to believe that I could not get a job other than a warehouse entry-level position because I do not speak English fluently. Here I am today, now an Intec graduate and speaking English. My name is Carlos Morales, and I entered the Industrial Electrical and Mechanical Pre-Apprenticeship Program at Sheffield College Intec Center. After graduating, I was offered a position at California Steel Industries as an Industrial Electrical Maintenance Apprentice. We all been affected by the pandemic in a manner that pushed us all out of our comfort zone. It made us think about what we have been doing so far and what we want to do from now on. I remember reading a quote, "If you want something you never had, then you got to do something you have never done." At that moment, I took the decision to sign into this program at the Intec Center to start a new career path. I survived 5 months thanks to the Intec Center staff. The instructors came along and gave us these soft skills that helped me not only to show my best on the front stage, that is a job interview, but also helped me discover my real potential. Now, in my current role, I am continuing my education at Intec while getting the hands-on experience as an apprentice at California Steel. The apprenticeship program prepared me to succeed in the workforce.
Fantastic story, Carlos. Thank you. By the way, we do have one more video testimonial to share with you, and it's a little under 3 minutes. No, excuse me, it's about 1.5 minutes. But we are fortunate enough to have Carlos. He joined us. He's on the call today. So we can go ahead and listen to the other video. And then if there are any questions for Carlos, he would be happy to take those. How does that sound? Or does that sound like a good plan?
Yes.
Okay, good. So next we will hear from Troy Brown. Troy graduated from the pre-apprenticeship program and was hired as an employee, not as an apprentice, and he works for a local logistics company. Prior to enrolling in our program, Troy worked at Amazon as a warehouse associate, earning $14.50 an hour. After he completed the program, he was hired at C&W Services with a starting wage of $23 an hour. And in May of last year, he went to work for Peraton, and now he earns $78,000 a year. Not too bad. Let's go ahead and hear from Troy.
My name's Troy Brown. I'm a third-party vendor for Amazon. Before I joined this program, I felt like I didn't know what I was going to do. I got dismissed from school. I didn't know where I was going to go with my career field. Got pressured to buy a house, got pressured to graduate, got pressured to do a lot of things. And I remember I stayed down the street one night overnight because I didn't have the gas to get home. When I joined this class or this course, it really changed my life. And now here I am. I really made a name for myself. At first, I thought walking into my job, it was going to be, I don't know what I'm going to do, And I walk in there, I'm like, oh, it's easy. I didn't honestly believe that I could do school until I came into this program. After I finished this course, I had a little fire, lit underneath me. And right now I'm going for mechanical engineering to hopefully dive into aerospace engineering. I walk around with my chest out. I'm not gonna lie to you. I walk around feeling like, I'm it, Before I started this course, I had my little Hyundai Tiburon, my little car that I would whip everywhere, And now, like, I get home and I open my garage, you know, and I've got a brand new Charger. I've got a SUV. I finally bought a motorcycle. I've been talking about it for like 18 years. I have everything, you know, there's nothing that I can't get. And that really does something to your confidence. For 2.5 months worth of school, to be able to get to where I'm at now, there's no discussion.
Great stories. So with that, we are open for questions.
So I'm going to go ahead and jump in here for a moment, and President Haynes, in the interest of time, I would recommend that we hold questions until the end and let our other colleges present, and then we can circle back on this.
I appreciate that. Great, thank you.
So next, we will hear from Interim Vice President John Milburn from College of the Canyons.
Well, hello, and thank you for inviting me to be here today. I am very excited about sharing a snapshot of our California Apprenticeship Initiative new and innovative apprenticeship program with you. My name is John Milburn, and I am the Interim Vice President of Workforce and Economic Advancement at College of the Canyons. And College of the Canyons is part of the Santa Clarita Community College District. We're located in northern Los Angeles County, and we're home to hundreds of world-class manufacturers, goods movement, and transportation logistic companies, and other critical industry sector companies as well. College of the Canyons, we pride ourselves on leading the way forward in workforce advancement and creating the opportunities necessary for those who seek to better themselves in their lives. College of the Canyons is also well connected with the local, regional, and state workforce development agencies. We work closely with the Chancellor's Office to ensure our work is guided by Vision for Success, which, as you know, aims to ensure that students from all backgrounds succeed in reaching their goals, improve their families and communities, and eliminating achievement gaps once and for all. In short, we have a long and successful track record of developing partnerships that drive the future of work. Next slide, please. So for this apprenticeship program, we focused on the supply chain sector, which is critical to the delivery of goods. I think we all experienced the impact of a disrupted supply chain. As far as the occupation, we chose material coordinator. And we chose it because there was really no formal pathway or training available for individuals to develop the skills that they needed to excel in their jobs or earn higher wages or receive promotions. This was the opportunity for a groundbreaking apprenticeship program for material coordinators. So we worked closely with a local company here, AMS Fulfillment and Goodwill Industries of Southern California and America's Job Centers of California to develop and recruit and identify employees and students for the apprenticeship program. A rapid response workforce training program was launched. We customized not for credit curriculum required for the related supplemental instruction, with the intent of migrating it to non-credit and credit programs. The training was offered when and where the apprentices and the employer wanted it to be. Our first cohort of students included 16 graduating apprentices. Each completed a minimum of 4,000 hours of on-the-job training, was mentored by an experienced supervisor or manager, and successfully completed at least the 288 hours of related supplemental instruction. Our efforts included creating the Strong Workforce Apprenticeship Group as our unilateral training committee and establishing Material Coordinator as a state registered apprenticeship with the Division of Apprenticeship Standards under the California Department of Industrial Relations, as well as with the Department of Labor. So next slide, please. I'd like to share a student spotlight with you now, student and employee, Jamie Buchanan. Jamie began her work for AMS Fulfillment in June of 2016 as a General Warehouse 2 worker. She was selected to participate in the AMS program due to her perseverance and drive. In October 2017, she was promoted to shipping lead. In September of 2020, she was promoted to supervisor, where she excelled greatly. And during that time, she entered a degree program with an emphasis in human resources. In May of 2021, she was promoted to Field Human Resources Representative at AMS Fulfillment. Here is Jamie in her own words on the next slide, please.
Hi, my name is Jamie Buchanan. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I was raised by a single mother, and I currently am a single mother of 4. I started working with AMS in 2016 in an entry-level position. Since then, I have moved up to shipping lead, a return supervisor, and now currently in the HR department. The apprenticeship program helped me achieve all these goals, I believe, with all the skills and opportunities they gave us, with all the classes that they taught us, ways to manage people, ways to manage time, Excel skills. I believe without those, I wouldn't be where I am today. And I am currently taking classes to achieve my career goals in the HR field for the future. I believe the apprenticeship program gave me the confidence to move forward with my goals in life and achieve what I've achieved so far. Thank you.
So that's Jamie. Our next slide
Hi, my name
is Anna Rodriguez. Wait for that slide to get up if you can, just in a minute here. Sorry if we're having any trouble with those videos. Anna Rodriguez started her AMS journey in September 2015, and she was an original participant with the AMS apprenticeship program. Anna has served in several positions with AMS and is currently operations manager at one of AMS's busiest locations. Here is Anna in her own words. Next slide, please.
Hi, my name is Anna Rodriguez. I am a ops manager at Avenue Williams, one of the facilities here at AMS Fulfillment. I'm currently a manager, and I've been part of the apprenticeship program for a while now. I started with them back on 2008, probably 2019. So it's been a while that I've been with them. Back in the days when I started with them, I started in a position as a warehouse too. I was a shipper, which is one of like the basic positions. I went through the whole training, and I was able to jump 6 positions now to make it to an ops manager. So it's been a lot. It's been tough, but without them, I probably wouldn't be able to make it. I am a Latina single mom. I have a 7-year-old daughter, and the fact that this program was part of my life is what helped me and supported me through all along my career. So it helped me a lot, to a point where I'm very, very thankful and grateful for everything they've done for me, and especially to my daughter, because that's just proving her that we can make it happen and that she has an opportunity to grow and to do more. You know, I'm just being her example. And I just want to thank you guys for your support. And I am sure that this is going to help me not to stay here, but to move forward and keep applying to other places and keep taking more and more responsibilities, because that's what the apprenticeship program taught me, that I can do it and that I have the support from them and AMS to help me grow. So I just want to thank you guys for that. And I want you guys to know that it is an opportunity for everyone out there. It doesn't matter your race. It doesn't matter your first language that you have or not. What matters is that you're willing to do it and that you're taking those opportunities that they're giving you to make it happen.
That's Anna in her own words. Next slide, please. So I'm going to talk a little bit about apprenticeship now and in the future. There we are. Here are a few pictures of the graduates from that first cohort. And if you'll just take a moment and notice the gentleman in the upper right photo holding up his diploma with a big smile on his face. He is now a supervisor at AMS Fulfillment, and he attested he never expected advancement in his career. It was this program that gave him that opportunity. We were forming the second cohort of the material coordinator apprentices in conjunction with several other companies when COVID-19 interrupted our progress. Many employers stating flatly, training is suspended until further notice. But employers are now returning to invest in their workforce again. We are back on track to launch future cohorts of the material coordinator apprenticeship and pre-apprenticeship programs. And of course, our goal is to create guided pathways to gainful employment for all citizens, which lead to long-term economic growth and prosperity for our communities and our nation. And the purpose of this grant was to create new and innovative apprenticeship opportunities in priority and emerging industry sectors or areas in which apprenticeship training did not currently exist. And that's exactly what we have done. Next slide, please. I'd like to thank you for your time and everything you do for our colleges, our students, and our communities. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
We're going to hold our questions to the very end of the presentations, but thank you so much for presenting these successful students.
My pleasure. Thank you.
So next, we're going to hear from the Mission College team, Dr. Chandra Arora and Dr. Par Mohammedian.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for inviting us to speak about our biotechnology program at Los Angeles Mission College. My name is Par Mohammedian. I'm the Vice Chair of Department of Life Sciences at Los Angeles Mission College in Sylmar. And I'm here with my colleague, Dr. Chandra Arora. Next slide, please. Just to give you an overview of our biotechnology program, when we started about 5 years ago, we had to consider that our students are mostly low income and have to work while attending school to support their families. The way that we designed the program, we thought about stackable certificate and degree programs where the students were able to complete the first certificate, the lab tech certificate, in 1 semester, and only by completing 3 courses and find a job immediately. And as educators, we always encourage our students also to pursue higher degrees. And so the students have the opportunity to take additional courses, to receive a second certificate, research lab tech, and then finally an associate degree in biotechnology. We are now in process of preparing to apply for the baccalaureate program in biomanufacturing, and I'm going to talk a little bit about it also later. In terms of our student population, in our programs, obviously we enroll our regular college students, we have incumbent workers, veterans, non-traditional students, and we also work very closely with our high school partners to make sure that we offer also these courses on site under the dual enrollment program. In regards to internships and employment, Dr. Arora, my colleague, has done an excellent job in placing the students after they finish their first certificate, which is actually within 4 months. They are ready to apply. Our placement rate is between 90 to 100%. And also to contextualize soft skills, Dr. Arora's labs are focused on project-based learning, where she also incorporates resume writing, mock interviews in her classes. She'll speak about the learning, project-based learning shortly. Next slide, please. Going back to the baccalaureate program in biomanufacturing, as soon as we informed our students and alumni, they were so excited about this opportunity. This will provide an affordable baccalaureate program in biomanufacturing in our area. This is an excellent opportunity for nearby communities that are economically challenged. In fact, the educational attainment, bachelor's degree and higher in these areas, is less than half when we compare to the numbers nationwide. And lastly, our industry partners are extremely excited and they're eager to hire our graduates. Next slide, please. Next slide. Yes, thank you. Dr. Aurora will continue with the presentation. Feel free to go ahead and introduce yourself. Thank you very much.
You're on mute, Dr. Aurora.
Thank you, the techniques. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Parr. I still believe the best gift anybody can give is the gift of time and attention, and I really appreciate the opportunity. Like Dr. Parr mentioned, our success rate for internship and employment is 90 to 100%, which is really what our goal always stands. Even today, through the pandemic, it became a challenge, but we were able to convert that into an opportunity because employers were looking for the trained people. Very early on, as an educator, I realized that there are so many graduates looking for jobs, and still there are so many jobs available. Something had to match there. So I started a flip approach on my personal time, sometimes taking lunch for them and sharing my lunchtime with them. I talked to the employers, asking them only one question. What is your Christmas wish list for an ideal employee? That means they're looking for something that we are not doing. So my logo was, if they don't learn the way we teach, let's teach them the way they learn. And it really led to that flip approach. And that is the key to our success for employment. There has not been one intern who has not been hired by the industry right after internship. Most of them have been hired after the first semester with these international companies who give them tuition reimbursement. They come back, do the second stackable certificate, they come back, get a promotion, and keep going till they get their AS degree. And that's what we are planning now to achieve a bachelor's degree for them, because employers are planning that tuition reimbursement and students really get excited with hands-on experience. So what we did, my whole idea was how to contextualize the soft skills. Anybody can learn things from a book, a textbook. Knowledge is not really a rare thing. But what was strategically built was hands-on training that employers are looking for. You multiply that with soft skills, and which comes automatically when it is a project-based learning, and that equals to employment. Project-based learning, whatever techniques they learn in half a semester, they apply to a project. For example, there was an oil spill in Orange County a few days ago. Some students wanted to know what happens to bacteria. We are talking about the bird life there. We are talking about the ocean life. And we found they really become resistant to many things. So something based on a project, they learn critical thinking, they learn how to manage the time, and they present that project in the end of that first semester to the public. And they gain that self-confidence, that ownership that we have done something, we have contributed something, we have learned something. In this model, I put the sign multiply, hands-on training, which is strategically planned, multiplied with soft skills, and it becomes employment. It is not plus, it is multiplication. That means you make one of them zero, the product will be zero. And that's the whole basis of my training, that they have to have soft skills embedded into their classroom, into their learning process, along with hands-on training. I'm very grateful to the most wonderful team in Los Angeles Mission College, starting from our president to our department faculty, who really helped us. Even through the pandemic, we were able to hold on the hands-on training. So I wish I had multiple sets of instruments, multiple labs, and I could train more people, even with safe distancing. And that still is my dream. And I'm a believer in dreams. And my dream is not what you see while sleeping. My dream is that doesn't let you sleep. So I created this model and it really worked well. And my classes are contextualized with soft skills. And most employers, they come back, we can teach them what to do. We cannot teach them how to work in a team. And they do team building, they work in a team, they learn to get along with each other, they learn to be really creative and get results from the project. Next, please. So in the process, we built a network of our industry partners, sometimes, like I said, on my personal time. And one of the subject matter experts, I was able to create region's first industry-approved credential certificate, which was launched a month ago, and it is hosted by Biocom, which has an umbrella of 150 industry partners. And I'm proud to say Los Angeles Mission College is the credential hub, and every month we hold that exam. And to extend that pipeline now to the other side, we reached out to K-12 students. We already had dual enrollment programs, but I brought in this Amgen Biotech Experience, which is a free program to high school students to get them acquainted with biotechnology. Otherwise, the word itself becomes very intimidating to them. Next, please. So in the process, we were able to build something like what I call an ecosystem. Right in the center of it was our National Science Foundation Award that we have several awards as a team. Myself, I got my own award as this year as a PI, and Dr. Parr is the co-PI on that. These are our employer partners. Thermo Fisher Cedars-Sinai became on board very recently. They have hired 4 students from our December graduates, which is just a month ago. Takeda LA Bioscience has helped us with internships, and we have worked with workforce development boards and AJCCs also. So we built something like an ecosystem in this area. Next, please. These are some of the success stories. The very first one, she was a museum manager who got laid off due to pandemic, lost the job, had absolutely nothing. She was hired before she finished her first semester. I helped her make the resume, prepared her for 3 interviews. I would open, even during the class, another room for her so she can go and talk to the employer. And she was hired before she was able to finish. Dexter William, he was a law enforcement officer. He was hired also in the middle of the semester by PharmaWhite. At the bottom is Ignacio. He was an auto mechanic hired by Grifols. Next, please. So you can feel the diversity and inclusion, and a humanizing element was definitely added to it. I must say, during pandemic, there was no cafeteria, no vending machines, no water fountains. And one of the students, Ivan here, he helped me. I'll give him money and he'll bring water bottles. We will arrange breakfast in a safe way, so people could at least have some snacks, and some human elements were definitely incorporated into that. Ivan is here. We will hear his story. He was a Frito-Lay stalker before that. And Carlos Maldonado, he was Amazon manager. Now he's working at Cedars-Sinai Biomanufacturing Center. With this, I would hand it over to Ivan, who's here with us to talk about his experience in this first certificate that he had. He continues to pursue his AS degree along with his job. So Ivan, over to you.
Can you hear me, everyone?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ivan Segovia. I'm a biotech student from Los Angeles Mission College. Before I started my journey in the biotech program, I was working as a grocery stocker sales representative for the company Pepsi-Cola Frito-Lay. Before the pandemic, I remember that one day I was in the campus and I noticed that there was an event about to start, and it was about different careers and academic pathways that were offered in LA and Los Angeles Mission College. One presentation in particular that grabbed my full attention was the Biotechnology Research Lab Assistant Program. During this presentation, Dr. Chandler Arora, she said, give me one full semester and I will change your life. Then she said, many of my students come back saying that they are really happy with their paycheck after taking this program. Well, let me tell you that now I'm part of that club. My life has changed for the best and I'm really happy with my paycheck. One of the most powerful learning experience was that our team had the opportunity to develop an experiment. The purpose of this experiment was to test the label non-GMO products and regular food products for the presence of genetically modified organisms. We had full ownership of this experiment. We always look for ways to work around our different schedules. Then I remember this quote, pursue what is meaningful, not what is expedient. Which was pretty much during this project. It was really hard for us because all of us, we had different kind of schedules and responsibilities. I heard from one of my teammates about cutting work hours and to focus on this project. And I quit my job to make this my full priority. This might sound too extreme, but it was a moral obligation to pursue what we find meaningful, which doesn't mean it was easy. It requires sacrifice and focus. The second learning experience was having access to the proper tools that can change the entire project and interpretation of the results. There was a point in our project that the UV light was telling us a small part of our project and the results. But thanks to the Los Angeles Mission College, we had access to the Bio-Rad gel dock, which is an expensive machine. I don't think it's as accessible to everyone. We were able to see the entire story behind our gel and all the different comparisons of the DNA of each item that we put into the experiment. And at the end, everything that we sacrificed was worth it, because 2 weeks before I completed my project, I was contacted by the company Pharmavite. This interview over the phone was different because I was told that they saw my resume and this company had had a great experience hiring individuals coming from the biotech program offered by Los Angeles Mission College. The project-based learning is a great method to learn. We were forced to bring different ideas, points of view, and possible solutions to our discussions. We learn how to collaborate, to communicate something positive or negative, and we figure out ways to develop our project and overcome problems. The project that I mentioned before has been a great tool that I use every single time that I get an interview. I see the surprise face in the interviewer when I mention this project. I would like to thank LA Mission College, my mentor, Dr. Aurora, and Dr. Parr for the tremendous support and guidance. I appreciate that we were the only class allowed on campus in 2021. This gave us the chance to learn techniques and methods that cannot be learned in a virtual lab. Currently, I'm working for the company, for the manufacturing area for the company Pharmavite that focuses on vitamins, minerals, and supplements. And today in the morning, I got an email from the hospital Cedars-Sinai that I will start next week. I would like to add that 1 week before I was 1 week before leaving to Dallas, Texas. I was willing to relocate and everything. And I was having a conversation with Dr. Aurora, and she convinced me, like, Ivan, there's only one spot in the biotech program. That spot, you should take it. And the rest is history. You already know about it. I'm still here in California. Thank you, everyone.
What a wonderful story. Are there any other presenters, or are we able to move to questions?
We have one more presentation from the MiraCosta College team about the bachelor's program in biomanufacturing.
I would like to thank Executive Vice Chancellor Marty Alvarado and Interim Vice Chancellor Sandra Sanchez for their invitation to speak with you today. And I also want to thank Chancellor Oakley and the Board of Governors for their continuing support for the baccalaureate programs in California. We were all thrilled when they achieved permanency in October. I'm going to speak to you about the Biomanufacturing Baccalaureate program at MiraCosta College. We're in northern San Diego County. Joining me today is Kelly Ramirez, who will speak to you in a little bit about her experience in the program. And also on the line is Dr. Mike Fino, who is currently our dean, but when he was on faculty, initiated the application and program development for our baccalaureate program. So we can move to the next slide. So just briefly to provide some context around what is biotechnology, because it really does touch us on our daily lives. Generally, it means the use of living systems to solve societal problems. And we've all seen that over the last 2 years with the development of the COVID-19 vaccine and therapies. But we're also talking about biofuels here, the brewing industry, which relies on yeast to convert sugars to alcohol, and even the generation of greener plastics and improving consumer products. So this is really a huge umbrella industry. Next slide, please. And when we're looking at biotechnology, there's essentially 3 phases. There's the research phase where we're just trying to understand biological systems and then try to find ways to apply them to societal issues. And generally that research is occurring in our university laboratories and research institutions and perhaps smaller companies. Once we have a potential product, we then move into the development phase. If it is some sort of human therapeutic, it's going to involve clinical trials, again, as we all witnessed with the COVID-19 vaccinations. And it also involves the challenge of scaling up, where we have to create enough product to meet market demands. And then finally, we move into the production phase, where we are producing things at scale using living systems. And we have to do so while maintaining high levels of quality and also regulatory compliance, such as FDA regulations around human therapies. So most of the Cal State and UC programs around biotechnology are really focused on early stage research. For biomanufacturing, what we're really looking at is the development and production phases, where we're more focused on the process, how to improve that process and ensure that it's meeting the needs of the market. We can go to the next slide. So again, just a little more context about life sciences in California. It's a huge economic driver in the state, supporting many jobs, both directly and indirectly, as well as generating more than $400 billion worth of economic activity across the state. We can go to the next slide, please. And not only are we generating jobs, but we're generating high wage jobs. So you can see here the average salaries by sector, and biomanufacturing would fall into the biopharmaceuticals at an average salary across the state of about $144,000. And on the right-hand side, you could see the degree requirements. I think often it's surprising to individuals that biomanufacturing jobs do not require advanced graduate degrees. The vast majority of jobs are accessible to those with associate degrees and baccalaureate degrees. But what you will see there is about half the jobs do require a bachelor's degree, which is what makes the baccalaureate programs at the community colleges so incredibly important. Next slide, please. And so at MiraCosta, similar to at LA Mission, we've created stackable certificates that lead into our associate degree, which then leads into the bachelor's degree in biomanufacturing. And students can move back and forth from the workforce and back to continue their education. But that bachelor's degree is really key for them to access promotions and higher level positions within the companies. And here you can see a variety of industry partners that we work closely with. Next slide. And just to underscore how important strong workforce investments have been, both local investments as well as regional investments within San Diego have been critical for us to be able to develop and launch our program and then expand it as well. So with these investments, we've been able to build pathways into biomanufacturing, developing entry-level coursework that we can then partner with high schools to offer. Purchasing equipment to expand our capacity at both lower and upper divisions, supporting expansion of our curriculum into emerging areas like automation so that our students are ready to change with the industry, empowering our faculty with continued professional development. And we really have worked hand in hand with industry to develop all of our coursework and to improve our outreach, both to industry as well as to transfer students. Next slide, please. And here's just a snapshot of our outcomes. We've had 5 cohorts now since we launched in fall 2017. And we really have had very high retention, 97% from beginning to end of the 2-year program. And then you can also see our success rates in terms of 2-year and 3-year graduation rates. Thus far, we've had 76 graduates, with the remaining students still currently enrolled. And this picture is of our first cohort that graduated just before the pandemic. Next slide. And now I just want to transition to Kelly. She graduated from our program in May 2021 and entered the workforce, and she's just going to share her experience. Thank you.
Kelly, you're on mute.
Thank you. I just want to say thank you to Dr. Juncosa and Mike Fino for their continued support from my first days in the prerequisite courses to graduation and staying in touch even after. Just a little bit brief background about myself. I am a mom of 4. And I had all 4 kids while in the bachelor's degree program. So with that being said, I was able to attend courses, have a family, attend work life, participate in extracurricular activities throughout the program itself, like initiating the ISPE chapter at MiraCosta, which is the International Society of Pharmaceutical Engineering. So the fact that this program existed at a community college level, and not only the pricing, but also the times that the courses were offered, and the flexibility of the coursework, was the only way I personally think I would have been able to achieve obtaining a bachelor's degree. And with that being said, throughout the program, I started working in industry at my current employer, Cellepont Bioservices, during my last semester. So that's 4 kids, working full-time, school full-time, and participating also in the ISPE club itself. And when I first started here at this company I'm at now, I was hired at a manufacturing assistant level. And I was able to work on the GMP side, which does a lot of human therapies. So with that being said, in 2 months, I was asked if I would like to then become a laboratory supervisor for their research and development lab. And I had a serious talk with my chief of operations who offered the job, and she was actually the one who hired me. And I said, I've only been here for 2 months and I'm not yet finished with my degree. I'm not entirely sure that I would do the best job for the lab. And she said, I have to respectfully disagree. The training you come with from MiraCosta is unlike anything I've seen somebody as far as an entry level employee. The fact that we have such a, what I call well-rounded degree, Dr. Juncosa calls it theory and practice, which is true. We know both the hands-on technical portion of various processes throughout the biotechnology industry. We know the various systems, automation systems, we've had exposure to those. We've had exposure to having classes that require us to design our own experiments and think about the, just the different aspects of what that comes with, the regulatory writing, the advanced regulatory writing classes, the certifications in the Six Sigma Lean. To come to a workforce and feel like I'm actually using the degree I received felt amazing. And as soon as I got here, my chief of operations said, who else from your cohort is looking for a job? And I immediately responded with another student who during ISPE said, hey, if anyone knows of anyone hiring, I'm looking for one. She then hired him. And then she hired another cohort student. And now there's a total of 5 of us here that work here throughout different company or different projects throughout the company. And I had a meeting with my CEO in order to try to prep for today's talk. And just the fact that I work at a company where we have that accessibility to chiefs of staff, like having a meeting with my CEO, and she wants to make sure we convey how well MiraCosta students do here at this company, and the fact that they would just take them all if they could. They've actually reached out to Dr. Juncosa and other faculty at MiraCosta in hopes of creating some sort of bridge program, but also so to have students come work here directly after graduating or while still in school. But also she noticed the things my other classmates and I were able to do here at the company, and that's help in a quality assurance department, help rewrite documents, help in quality control department, help throughout all of these different processes, and be able to speak to all these things was something that she and our chief of operations have just been so impressed with, and have let us know that, and have given us the opportunity to be in positions of leadership at the company within such a short amount of time. And I think one of the things MiraCosta also offered that in my last semester, I remember taking the leadership and development course. And I remember being not annoyed, but I just was like, I missed the science class in my last semester because I thought I would never need a leadership and development class. I didn't see myself as ever someone who would be able to have a leadership position as a mom of 4, as I just said, I just don't think that's obtainable. So I didn't think I needed the course. Well, it turns out that course has actually been the one that stuck with me quite well, because it taught us how we need to think about others, think about the kind of leader we want to be, think about leadership styles, think about what it really means to be a part of an integral team. And that's something that I have got to apply in my everyday life now as a manager and with my team. And I'm finding myself, saying the things or teaching these little, referring to the exercises we used to do in the leadership class. I'm finding myself quoting my previous professors. And just the fact that I, was exposed to so many different faculty members who were women who had their PhD, I think was something that struck me as inspirational. That was my first time. I have 5 brothers and sisters, and I'm the only, and my parents didn't go to college. I'm the first in my family to go to college. So again, just to see women at that level was so inspiring to me. I was intimidated at first, but all of these women, not to say that the male faculty wasn't, but these women who had their PhDs and have accomplished all of these great things were so encouraging throughout the entire program, and would always say, well, why can't that be you? Why can't you have that leadership position? Why can't you get that job? And the fact that they would always be ready and willing to review a resume, try mock interviews with us, partner us up with someone in industry just to practice interviews, so that we had that exposure to people in industry, so that the first time, we had a real interview outside of the classroom setting, that wouldn't be our first interaction with someone in industry, so that we could feel more comfortable, so that we would be prepared for the questions they were asking. And I thought, okay, that's something MiraCosta did so well. I feel prepared. I got the job. Thank you. And then I got here, and everything I have done since, every process I have worked on, every project I have helped, they let me write work instructions. They let me take ownership of our own deviation processes. They are so impressed that all of us 5 MiraCosta students know so many different things throughout the industry, not just the technical pieces of how to do an actual process, but what happens to the product after. What if it's a cell therapy product? What if it's this? Different excipients, all of these different technical pieces, the science behind it. What happens with the regulatory bodies that aren't just the FDA? What about, the European foreign bodies? What about the ones in Japan? Just to be able to speak to that has really made an impact on my employer. And they are like, hey, who else can we have? We have teams fighting for other MiraCosta students. We just had another MiraCosta student join our team this week. And I literally had team leads saying, I want her. No, I want her. And they're fighting over them because they say it takes about 2 weeks to show us a process versus it's just the training time is cut down by so much and they don't have to.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm going to jump in here.
That was it.
In the interest of time, this is amazing and really excited to hear all of these fantastic stories. Apologies for interrupting, but I do know that the board will want to get to comments and questions. And so I want to make sure that we leave a little bit of time for that. So again, apologies. In the interest of time, I want to take a moment to thank all of the presenters and all of our amazing students, because we know that this is quite a bit to come to the board and present. I also know that this is a priority topic for the board. And so I do want to emphasize that this was just our initial spotlight to really highlight the work that is happening across our campuses and the impact that it is having on our students in both educational outcomes and in employment and economic outcomes. With that, President Haynes, I will hand it back to you.
Thank you so much, and Kelly, thank you. And to all of the students who shared their personal experiences and their personal success. It was absolutely wonderful. We are going to open this up to board member comments or questions, and then we'll do it for the public as well. So board members, any questions? Well, that means that it was an absolute wonderful success when our board members don't have a question relative to a presentation. So again, thanks so much. We're now going to open this up for public comment. Is there any?
The public comment period for item 6.3 is now open. Please use the raise hand feature to make a comment on this item. If you are calling into the meeting, press *9. You will have a maximum of 3 minutes. We did not receive any written comments on this item, and I will hand it over to Gary for hands raised.
There are no hands raised at this time, President Haynes.
Thank you so much. Then we're going to move to our next board agenda item 6.4, which is advancing equity and success, student-centered funding formula, implementation, and peer learning community update. And we have a Vice Chancellor, Executive Vice Chancellor Navarrete presenting on this item.
Thank you, Board President Haynes, Vice President Costa, and members of the board. Lizette Navarrete, Executive Vice Chancellor, Institutional Supports and Success. It's a pleasure to be here today to provide an update on how we're advancing equity and success through the student-centered funding formula and provide a promised student-centered funding formula update to all of you. Next slide, please. The vision for success doesn't mince words. As its key target, it has ensuring that students from all backgrounds succeed, and a key focus to eliminate achievement gaps. Recognizing that this doesn't just matter to the student, it matters to families and the communities that they come from. And as we saw in Chancellor Oakley's report, or the report that Chancellor Oakley released this morning, it matters for the state of California in the success of our state's economy. Next slide, please. The student-centered funding formula ushered in an opportunity to align this vision to ensure that our colleges not only were had the opportunity to recognize the changing demographics of our state, but had an opportunity to focus resources beyond enrollment to other core components of a college's mission. So the student-centered funding formula has as its core tenets access, equity, success, and equitable success. And so the journey and the funding related to the student-centered funding formula doesn't stop at enrollment. It goes on to connect students to aid through the supplemental allocation, recognizing that it's important to not only serve low-income Californians, but ensure that we do everything possible to connect them to available aid that will help their success. And then in alignment with our work, our efforts, supporting success, recognizing it, and funding it. Many of you also know that across the nation, this notion of not just focusing on enrollment is ubiquitous. Among many of our colleges who are recognized by Aspen or aspire to be recognized as one of the achieving colleges, you know that in College 2.0, the efforts really have moved beyond access to focus on completion and post-graduation success. That's what the student-centered funding formula provides, is an opportunity to center our work on that. Next slide. And so in today's update, I'm going to provide a brief primer on the student-centered funding formula so you understand how it works and how it's structured. But I'm going to focus on two of several implementation efforts that the Chancellor's Office has led. So the student-centered funding formula is comprised of three components, the majority still being enrollment, by focusing on funding resources by providing resources for the number of students that they serve, so FTES, full-time equivalent students, and a basic allocation, which I'll share more details about. The supplemental allocation being the next large component, and then lastly, success metrics, which I'll go into further details. Next slide, please. The basic allocation provides funds for colleges to support the basic cost of operations, including their facilities. The metrics that we utilize for that are a district size, the number of colleges and the number of centers within that college, as well as their rural status. We look at enrollment components. Again, this is still the largest part of colleges funding. The enrollment component measures 5 FTES, full-time equivalent student categories: credit, incarcerated, credit, special admit, career development, college prep, and non-credit. Next slide, please. And the supplemental allocation is really the access and equity component. It considers low-income students that are served by the college, recognizing that that's an important part of our mission and opportunity as open access institutions. We look at headcounts within this metric, specifically AB 540 students, Pell recipients, and Promise Grant recipients. Next slide, please. And the success allocation considers achievement across 8 metrics listed here. They include everything from the associate degrees for transfer, known as ADTs, baccalaureate degrees like the one you saw earlier in the workforce update, transfer level English math, CTE units, and regional living wage. We don't stop there because equity is a major component of this formula. We look at also how are traditionally underrepresented students performing in these areas. So we look at all student achievements, Pell Grant recipient achievements, and Promise Grant recipient achievements. Next slide, please. But before I move on to share a little bit more about our implementation efforts, thought it would also be helpful to provide a quick primer on the prior formula known as SB 361. Next slide, please. So I mentioned earlier the prior formula was primarily based on enrollment and driven by enrollment funding. And it stopped at that component of a student's journey. So you see here, the vast majority of district's funds came through a full-time equivalent student. This led often to efforts to think about ways to always grow, and I'll share more about that. Next slide, please. Some of the funding rules under SB 361 included that, again, the districts would receive funding based on the number of colleges and centers that they have, the full-time equivalent students based on prior year data. And it's important to note that decreases in full-time equivalent students resulted in revenue decreases for the district. And so emphasis was really placed on growing those enrollments, but not necessarily on growing in other areas because there were no financial measures attached to those. Next slide, please. So you see here a little bit of a comparison of SCFF and the prior formula had all rules still remained in place. Next slide, please. And if the work of the SCFF sounds familiar to other reforms that the Chancellor's Office and California's community colleges are leading, it's because there is intentional alignment. The work and the similarities align with reforms like guided pathways that really focus on clarifying the path, entering the path, staying on the path, and ensuring learning, all akin to strategies around enrollment, connection to aid, and support along the journey to success. Seeing really the synergy between these efforts, both at the state level and with goals of seeing that synergy at local levels as well. Next slide, please. And so the Chancellor's Office work has really been on supporting implementation. And as you've led for our colleges, and as we often bring to you, it's important to ground the work in data. And that meant first making data available, accessible, and usable for districts. So one of the first endeavors that we embarked on in SCFF implementation was again on making data available. So we launched the SCFF dashboard. Next slide, please. The SCFF dashboard is a 3-phase project. The first phase provided a comparison of the prior formula to the SCFF. The next phase really provides the heart of the data that really helps districts lead to local conversation, compels action, and drives local analysis to support this important work. We recently released a new feature that highlights information and data on race and ethnicity, but other components of the dashboard highlight how low-income students are doing, where colleges and statewide we see areas of success. The final phase to be released in March of this year is a district planning tool, which can be utilized for long-term planning, estimates, and other key uses. Next slide, please. Let me share a little bit more, and in your item provided a lot more detail on this, but I want to highlight where you can find this because I encourage all of you to engage with this, delve into the data, and go on and see for yourself some of what is available and where the SCFF is helping lead colleges. And so on our page, the college finance page, you'll find an area where you can get a lot of information, FAQs, other resources on the SCFF. But you'll also see dashboard 1 and 2 and the soon to be released dashboard 3. In there, this is an interactive site where you can explore and have queries of your own. Next slide, please. The first dashboard that was released to colleges, again, provided details on a district's total computational revenue, where their districts, their resources were coming from, what component was from FTES, and it also compared it again to the prior formula. Next slide, please. The second dashboard focuses on more exploration and queries, where you can see statewide metrics, look at your own individual district. Again, this is a useful tool for colleges who want to understand what are some of the drivers and levers within the SCFF to support their work and ultimate funding. So you see here, when you arrive, you will see the number of students, FTEs, the number of low-income students we serve as defined by Promise and Pell and AB 540, and where components of funding are coming from. You see that majority of the funding for colleges continues to come from FTES, or enrollment-based metrics. Next slide, please. You also can explore success and success equity values. So I mentioned the 8 metrics that are included in the SCFF. These include associate degrees, credit, transfer, and things that our colleges have had. I'll highlight a nearly 70% transfer level English and math gains for all of our colleges, but we can see that also for Pell and Promise students, and you can dive into that data, not just for the state, but for individual districts. Next slide, please. Here are some other views that show the breakdown of supplement and success funding. So if a college wants to know where their college, where their resources are coming from and which metrics are driving those resources, they can explore that. Next slide, please. So this has enabled us to have some early findings, to delve deeper and see where, how the SCFF is helping align in local efforts and goals. Some of these early findings show that for many of the success metrics, students, there's been greater increase in low income student completion. So we've seen equal to or greater. That's a good sign for our students. Statewide, ADT, Associate Degree for Transfer, completions by low-income students as defined by Pell and Promise have also increased, with 34% for Promise and 36% for Pell students. Statewide increases in regional living wage have gone up by 18% and 19% for Promise and Pell students respectively. And then the data provides early indications that colleges are making a lot of strides in closing local equity gaps. But our work continues. Next slide, please. And then in their early findings of the release that was sent out earlier this month, we saw race and ethnicity so that we can continue to advance our local conversations and focus on equity. We're seeing gains across 33% for ADTs for all race and ethnicity groups, but Black and African American students, Hispanic, Latinx students are seeing higher increases at 35 and 40.5 increase percent respectively. And as I mentioned earlier, there's been a 69% increase in transfer level English and math in the first year since 2017. But for low income students, they've experienced even larger gains at 89% for Pell and 90% for Promise students. This is exciting work. This means that we are doing, seeing great work from our colleges. This focus matters. Next slide, please. So again, I invite you to explore the dashboard, share a little bit more. You can also see FAQs, data metrics, and other key resources. So that's one area of implementation that we knew districts needed. I really want to pause and thank the various groups that have been key partners in helping review, provide feedback on what colleges need. So the many CEOs and various groups that have helped inform what they need to lead this work. I want to thank the RP group, for their review, and Trust West for their review and helping us find key metrics as well that matter for local analysis. So I want to thank that. Next, what do we do with this data and how do we continue to advance implementation? Next slide, please. That's where we leverage data for local action. And so I want to share an update on the student-centered funding formula peer learning community. Next slide, please. The Chancellor's Office is launching a peer learning community for the student-centered funding formula with the focus on advancing implementation. This will help support a group of colleges committed to working collaboratively around data review, advancing local innovations, all with the goal of moving forward, advancing and leading in the core tenets of the SCFF. We're asking peer learning community members to focus on implementing local practices, especially those that help reach more low-income students, bring them back to campuses, help their enrollment, and then not stop there, help and connect them to aid and other core resources and supports that they need to be successful. We also are asking leaders to help develop scalable and data-driven practices so that we can learn from them and other districts and colleges can learn from them as well. Next slide, please. The focus really is on increasing access for low-income students. We want to start there as one of the core areas, recognizing that it dovetails with the important work of this pandemic. We also want to identify how to streamline financial aid and other basic needs supports and advance policies and strategies that support historically underrepresented communities and help lead them to educational success. Participants are going to be asked to question the status quo, test new practices, and help us learn from their results. What we want to do in these groups is learn in detail about the fundamental steps that they took to effectuate local change. Next slide. So often you hear that when you learn about effective strategies or proven practices, you hear about the concept and then you learn about the end results. What we want to do in the peer learning community is really focus on the process of what made that change. We want to hear the highs and the lows of local implementation. We want to learn the steps that worked, what didn't, and again, learn in detail so that we can unpack implementation and help support other colleges. So we look forward to sharing details, learn from colleges and districts that participate in the peer learning community so that we can continue advancing implementation of the student-centered funding formula and student success. Next slide, please. And then with that, I just want to leave you with a reminder that the student-centered funding formula provides our colleges a renewed commitment to the equity work that they are already leading, but it puts students at the forefront because at the end of the day, that's what we're here to do, to help students, help their communities, and help them achieve their goals. And so I'm happy to answer any questions. I will note that in the next update, I'll share more details about elements of the governor's proposal that affect the student-centered funding formula. So I'll go into a lot more details during the budget proposal item on that. Thank you, Board President Haynes. I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you so much for that presentation. I'm going to ask our board members if they have questions. I see Member Hall has his hand up.
I have two really easy questions for you. Would you be kind enough just to send me the link to the dashboard webpage so I have it readily accessible?
Absolutely, happy to do that.
And then secondly, here's my other second easy question. What's the difference between an AA degree and an ADT degree?
Great, that's a great question. So associate degrees, colleges can develop their own associate degrees. The associate degrees for transfer are a clear pathway that aligns with CSU and other entities We have various agreements with various other entities that essentially create a model of 60 units and then 60 units at the transferring agents or transferring institution. So that's really the distinction between the two.
So there are people who get their AA degree who can't transfer to a UC or state college then?
They can still transfer, it's just a different pathway. For some, it may mean that they transfer with more units, fewer units, it just depends on the institution.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Vice President Costa and then Member Rawlings.
Just kudos. I love this. I think, kind of the underpinning of the statute was always the idea that, potentially it could be used as a planning tool for districts. And I think the dashboard specifically is really informative. So just kudos. I think this is really great work. And I know that it was probably a lot of work and a heavy lift and clearly an ongoing work stream ahead of you. But thank you. This is wonderful.
Thank you.
I'm going to second that and just ask a little bit about the phase 3. So being at the local district, one of the things I've noticed is with SCFF, it certainly refocused attention, but at the same time, it's made it much harder to plan resources. And so I'm really looking forward to phase 3. How far forward looking is phase 3, that dashboard going to be? I mean, like, is it going to be like just 1 year, or is it going to be like a multi-year planning tool that then allows them to really do their program review and build their program review off of that data? Or how do you envision that working?
Thank you, Board Member Rawlings. The intent of the planning tool is to provide a multi-year estimate. It's going to have a lot of caveats because as you know, it all really depends on allocations in the budget, including the cost of living adjustment calculation amongst other pieces. But it'll allow you as a district to see what levers matter to advance, advance funding. So you can see, enrollments, triggers, serving of low-income students, success triggers. Right now, we're seeing that, for some districts that are supported in the SCFF, they're doing really well in various success metrics. And so being able to see that, what are some of those drivers would be helpful.
I don't see any other hands raised. I just want to add my comments by saying that this is a really good primer for SCFF for all of us and its impact and import relative to our community colleges. So thank you so much for the presentation. Is there other public comment?
The public comment period for item 6.4 is now open. Please use the raise hand feature to make a comment on this item. If you're calling into the meeting, press *9. You will have a maximum of 3 minutes. This item did not receive any written comments, and I will hand it over to Gary for hands raised.
The first hand we have raised is Evan Hawkins. You have control of your mic and can address the board.
Thank you. Good afternoon, President Hayes, Vice President Costa, Chancellor Oakley, and members of the Board of Governors. My name is Evan Hawkins. I'm the Executive Director for the Faculty Association of California Community Colleges. The funding formula has had a range of impacts on each of our district's core funding, with disproportionate negative impacts on districts in high cost of living areas. These have yet to be realized because of the hold harmless provision. And hold harmless has been the most successful aspect of the funding formula, as it has provided stable funding during the pandemic and prevented many districts from drastic funding loss, which would of course hurt our students. As the funding formula continues to be implemented, measured, and potentially altered, Fact's hope is that we learn from what hasn't worked so well with the funding formula and make necessary changes to ensure it becomes truly student-centered. Increasing student success and raising support for low-income students is a goal we all share. So let's ensure our funding incentives accomplish that. We believe the experience of faculty and other practitioners is critical to meet these shared goals, and we encourage the Board of Governors and Chancellor's Office to engage with us in implementation and during any future advocacy on proposed changes to the funding formula. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, the username is just 2 hyphens. I'm going to give you control of your mic and you can address the board.
Oops, my apologies. This is Katrina Linden with the Campaign for College Opportunity. Good afternoon, President Haynes, Chancellor Oakley Ortiz, and members of the board. My name again is Katrina Linden, Legislative Affairs Manager with the campaign. We would like to thank the Board of Governors for their commitment to the implementation of the student-centered funding formula, along with the Chancellor's Office staff for their diligent work to uplift promising practices and implementation while providing transparent, easy to navigate data dashboards to the public surrounding the implementation of the formula. The SCFF was built with racial equity in mind, and its successful implementation will ensure we can uplift and support all students across the 116 community colleges in reaching their college and transfer dreams. The data tells us that the SCFF withstands the pressures of economic uncertainty and aligns funding to prioritize access and success while providing fiscal certainty, even amid shifting enrollment projections and the historic obstacles our students face on their path to their college goals. We look forward to working with the Chancellor's Office and other community college stakeholders in response to the Governor's proposed state budget to advocate for a transition out of the home harmless period. This transition will allow us to continue to make progress toward closing racial equity gaps, protecting districts' fiscal stability, and maintaining a critical dual focus on funding based both on students' access and timely progression. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is calling into the meeting. The last 4 digits are 7196. You have control of your mic and can address the board.
Hi, good afternoon, President Hayes, Vice President Costa, Chancellor Oakley, and Board of Governors members. Manny Rodriguez on behalf of the Education Trust West. Apologies for muting and unmuting myself because I'm calling in. As an organization working to expose and eradicate the injustices and inequities in California schools and colleges, we'd like to thank the Board of Governors for continuing to support the student-centered funding formula and the Chancellor's Office for their tireless work to support the implementation of the funding formula for providing tools, resources, technical information, and professional development for this. ETW has been and continues to be a strong supporter of the student-centered funding formula because it provides a system to fund our colleges that supports access for key students, incentivizes student success throughout their journey, and aligns with other equitable initiatives y'all are embarking on, such as the Vision for Success, Guided Pathways, and AB 705. Furthermore, in the most recent budget framework, Governor Newsom outlined a new multi-year roadmap which doubles down on some of these goals, incentives, that the funding formula is really prioritizing. Moving forward, and currently, we applaud you for providing stakeholders key data analytics, transparency through the dashboard, and we look forward to the support and collaboration that will come from the peer learning community. With that, we ask you to stay the course, continue to strengthen and invest in SCFF so that we expedite progress and increase access and success for low-income students, students of color, and first-generation students. ETW stands ready to help in any way possible. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have no other hands raised.
Thank you so much. So we're going to be moving to item 6.5, state and federal budget and policy update. And we have EVC Navarrete and Vice Chancellor O'Brien presenting.
Thank you, Board President Haynes, Vice President Costa, and members of the board. We're excited to bring to you this item, especially following the robust meeting that we've had that has really provided a good picture of the ecosystem of the import of California community colleges, but also the important work that our colleges are leading and how resources can support their efforts. So I am going to provide you an update on the 22-23 governor's budget, which was released on January 10th. And as you've heard in our comments earlier, this is a historic budget, and it presents many opportunities for our colleges to continue the great work that you've seen today. Next slide, please. We begin by sharing a little bit about some of the themes that we saw in this year's budget. I won't go into too much detail on these in the interest of time, but the budget invests in continued COVID-19 pandemic response, including expanding testing and other public health resources. Education and the parents' agenda continues and is now a front and center of this administration's priorities, recognizing the recent launch of a TK, need for expanded childcare slots, and supports for children and the parents of children, expanding opportunities around investments for workforce and small businesses, amongst others. And then recognizing that we continue to see climate change and climate crises affect our communities as a result of drought, wildfires, and other issues. And so there are some investments in this area. I won't cover these, but you can find more resources on the entire full summary on our news page. Next slide, please. The surplus for the state continues, meaning that it provides and presents a positive budget for California's community colleges, particularly in Prop 98. K-14 are beneficiaries. One key conversation that we'll hear a lot more, especially when I bring this item back to you at the May revision, is around the GAN limit. What's the GAN limit is also known as the state appropriation limit. The state has exceeded that for 2021 and 21-22. And as a result, we can expect to see some investments to address this limit and may revise and may include a combination of infrastructure projects or reimbursements to taxpayer or other investments in K-14 education. Next slide, please. For the education components of this, I'll highlight three. Again, initiating the implementation of TK is a big component of the early ed portfolio. We also see the continued response. Testing has been a big priority, a big conversation. There are some federal funds that remain available to K-12, and these may go in the form of enabling access to testing. But for higher ed, the headline really is a focus on multi-year compacts with the UC and CSU, and then building a roadmap of multi-year predictable investments for California's community colleges, with this administration's goal that ultimate investments lead to a 70% post-secondary attainment goal. Next slide, please. So let me share more about the roadmap to California's future as presented by the administration and the opportunities that it presents to our system. There's a focus on greater student educational outcome, advancing equity, increased intersegmental collaboration, and improved workforce. Many of the components that we already know, embrace, and are working towards under this vision for success. Next slide, please. And so it seems relevant to see where there is alignment with the direction that the administration has presented in this opportunity with the goals that we are already striving to achieve. Under the Vision for Success goal, we're all striving towards an increase in 20% of degrees and certificates. That's the same goal as outlined in the governor's roadmap. Increased transfer is a main priority. We see that in here with various investments and transfer and commitments to continuing to help us work with our four-year partners to increase access and slots for our students. And has been a priority for many of you from the early development of the Vision for Success. It's working to reduce the unit accumulation so that our students can get out and advance their goals and careers with fewer units and less friction at each of those points. So we see an alignment there. Next slide, please. And then we see a commitment for workforce and other programs. I'll highlight that the governor's roadmap really hones in on some key areas, including healthcare, climate response, education, and early education. All of these areas, you'll see investments throughout the governor's budget, not just in community colleges, but for UC and CSU, recognizing workforce shortages there and opportunities to connect individuals to well-paying jobs that are hiring and that are critical to the state. The last I'll highlight, in alignment with the work that we continue to see by our colleges and districts, is efforts to reduce equity gaps. And we see this through investments in helping advance the completion of underrepresented students, and particularly Pell students as well. And then opportunities to partner in dual enrollment. Next slide, please. So that's a little bit about the roadmap. The budget overall for this year provides an estimated 1.8 billion in new resources to community colleges, the combination of one-time and ongoing, the bulk of those resources coming in one-time funds at 982 million. Next slide, please. Here you see a little bit more details about those ongoing funds, and I'll cover some of those investments. 840 million in ongoing funds to support our colleges. 460 million of those will go as part of the cost of living adjustment to our colleges. We're glad to see an investment in our part-time faculty health at 200 million in ongoing resources. Resources for the student success and completion grants at 100 million. Resources to modernize technology and that continued investment. And some growth dollars to support the increases in both in all three buckets of the student-centered funding formula, among others. Next slide, please. Here, I'm going to kind of take us back a little bit to our conversation about the student-centered funding formula and talk about apportionment. So we see an increase in apportionments for our colleges of 437 million. This puts the total resources at 8.4 billion for our colleges. This reflects a 5.33% COLA, the same COLA as is provided to K-12. And a key policy proposal that is presented by Governor Newsom, and we're look forward to supporting, is extending the student-centered funding formula revenue protections by setting a funding floor. Let me unpack that a little bit more. Next slide, please. And so, as you know, the cost of living adjustments go directly to the various rates that fund the types of FTES, full-time equivalent students that our colleges serve. And so you see here the prior year amounts of what those are funded all increased by 5.33% for a cost of living adjustment. Next slide, please. And as you saw earlier, we continue to support the student-centered funding formula by supporting not just the enrollment, but other key steps. Next slide, please. And so in the governor's proposal, he also emphasizes the support, continued support for the implementation of the student-centered funding formula. And this proposal includes a provision that districts would receive the highest funding option for 24, 25 and beyond. And so it provides predictability and stability for colleges. What it does is creates a funding minimum. So wherever colleges are in 24, 25, that becomes their funding minimum. And then a district would receive the highest option, either of their SCFF metrics, a one-year stability provision, or that funding floor set at 24, 25. Next slide, please. What does that look like in practice? Let's say we're a district operating under the SCFF come 24-25. And when we look at all of your, we run the calculation for that, and your highest funding option is the SCFF metrics. That becomes your funding floor. For districts operating under stability, that is incorporated. And for districts under hold harmless, we calculate that, and that becomes their floor as well. And so this is a scenario of, again, 3 different types and how we calculate and how that would be set. Next slide, please. Other exciting investments that we see in the budget are $100 million to support students that are newly eligible for the Student Success and Completion Grants due to the expansion that we saw in Cal Grants. We also see a $10 million augmentation for financial aid offices, recognizing their important work, especially in connecting them to emergency grants and other aid. And then some resources to support emergency grants for AB 540 students, considering that the funds included last year will not be eligible for AB 540 students, and this rectifies that issue. Next slide, please. We see various investments aligned to the system request, one around technology modernization with a key focus on supporting the data integrity for our colleges, helping ensure that technology infrastructure is secure for our students, our faculty and staff, and that it can be modernized to meet the demands. Many conversations in this area, but we're glad to see a $75 million one-time investment and a $25 million ongoing investment. Next slide, please. We see another key system request, which is supports for part-time faculty. This would increase that program by $200 million to provide more health coverage to part-time faculty. This program is currently funded at only $490,000 statewide, not acceptable in an era where health is such a need and health access is so critical. So the goal of this investment is to create incentives to support more part-time faculty access to healthcare. Next slide, please. The system request also sees alignment in the governor's proposal with the 1.1 million ongoing investment in Aid to Men to expand charters at more districts and help us and advance Black student success across our colleges. And then we want to learn from the practices and the lessons of Umoja. So a small investment one time so that we can study the Umoja program. Next slide, please. We see an alignment in investments to diversify our workforce with 10 million ongoing to support equal employment opportunity programs. Right now, this program is primarily funded out of a penalty, which doesn't support ongoing effective practices to hire and diversify our faculty, staff, and administrators. This recognizes that discrepancy and invests in this program. Next slide, please. And then resources to focus and continue to elevate our need to enroll, re-engage through high-touch strategies, bringing students back to our campuses. The budget also provides some language and intent language by the administration that they want districts to strive to offer at least 50% of courses in person, mind that they meet student demand and health guidelines. Next slide, please. And then if you think there's a lot in this budget, there's still more to come. So I'm going to highlight some of the investments that are in really focused on strengthening academic pathways. There are 6 core ones that I'll discuss. Next slide, please. Common course numbering, you saw in last year's budget, there was an investment in common course numbering and a bill that was signed. And this budget provides additional resources to advance that work and advance implementation across our colleges. So it builds on that 10 million investment from last year by adding 105 million one time. The focus is aligning curriculum, easing course section, reducing friction, promoting timely completion, again, and a focus of the Vision for Success as well. And then supporting students in taking their units and courses across all districts in our state. Next slide, please. And then we see 65 million one time to implement the reforms included in Assembly Bill 928. This was a bill that was signed in the 2021 statutes. It did not include resources in last year's budget, so this enables that implementation to move forward. Next slide, please. And then I'll highlight the 25 million to clearly map out intersegmental pathways. You saw references of this effort and strategy in last year's budget, but ultimately it was not included in the final act. And so we see this concept come back as a priority for the administration and opportunities in creating greater alignment. And in alignment with workforce efforts, we see 20 million one time for public-private partnership grants in high-skilled fields. You'll see again that emphasis on STEM areas, healthcare, education, and early ed in alignment with administration's priorities. Next slide, please. And then the last two I'll highlight in strengthening academic pathways is 130 million one time to support healthcare focus. I mentioned earlier that healthcare is a big focus of this program. And so you see here another investment in this area, really on vocational pathways for English language learners. This would be a program that is envisioned in partnership with K-12 districts. And for many of you, you may recall that a few years ago, California Community Colleges entered into pilot programs to provide teacher credentialing so that there can be access to teacher training programs in underserved areas. This provides a 5 million one-time investment in those pilots to continue that work. Next slide, please. We see another robust investment in deferred maintenance and instructional equipment of 387.6 million one time. This year, we see a focus on energy efficiency projects in recognition of our climate crisis and the role that colleges can play in leveraging their footprint and buying power. Next slide, please. And student housing remains a priority and an opportunity for us as California community colleges. Last year's budget provided a $2 billion investment over 3 years, $1 billion of which would be dedicated to California community colleges. And so this year's proposal of 22-23 budget proposal includes $750 million for a second year of student housing grant programs. And so those will be, again, administered similarly by the Department of Finance in partnership with the joint legislative budget committees. But we're excited to see that it continues to be a priority and opportunity for us. Next slide, please. Capital outlay, we're in the last few rounds of Prop 51 projects as we're winding down that bond fund. This budget provides $373 million for the 18 continuing projects in the system request. Next slide, please. And now I want to transition into the non-98 side of investments that really help us think about the capacity that we need to advance this important work. Not only the work that you see presented in this budget, that 70% goal, but the work to support leadership and implementation. We continue to see an imbalance with the number of campuses students we serve and the central office capacity to help colleges in leading implementation. Next slide, please. And so we're very delighted to see that this budget, and Governor Newsom has recognized that imbalance and made an initial step in supporting greater leadership and abilities to support local districts through this budget proposal. And includes an increase of $1.4 million for 9 new positions in the 22-23, with commitment for additional positions in 23-24. Again, these resources would be intended to support staff and the work that they do in leading implementation of curriculum-related efforts, technology modernization, and overall need in state capacity and operations to implement the programs, strategies that you see in this proposal and prior year proposals. Next slide, please. Why is this so needed? Why is this so essential? We've seen a flat capacity in spite of program growth across more than a decade for California's community colleges. This chart here shows the number of staff in the blue line, staff that are authorized for California's community colleges in 2010. Number of programs that we served at 36. And then you see a nearly flat line, a blue flat line. But for 21-22, if you look at that, we're at 105 programs with still a flat blue line of capacity to implement. That means that we are, that this is, again, important investment in supporting districts and overall implementation. Next slide, please. So the budget process is in the early stages. We are in the phase of the governor's release, and the legislative analyst will be sending out their own perspective and thoughts on the governor's proposal. Subcommittees are expected to begin next month, and then we'll have a May revision come May. And the process will continue through implementation and final enactment of a budget by July and August. And so with that, I'll go to the next slide with just a shameless plug of other areas where we can continue to further engage and that we will be monitoring. There are many. This is just a small sampling of some areas that are still needs and priorities, again, amongst others. Student mental health is a key area. We heard in many of our student listening tour and visits the need for student mental health resources. We hear from our districts the need for pension liability. And then the award amount for Cal Grants continues to be a priority for our students, and look forward to supporting their efforts. Next slide, please. So if you are, after all of this, you're still interested in more information, and if you love engaging on budget news and delving into the details, I invite you to visit the budget news page. You'll see a link there, and happy to post it. I'll pause for questions before turning it over to my colleague, Vice Chancellor O'Brien, to give you the state and federal update. And I do thank Board Member Anderson for so patiently holding his hand up.
I want to thank him for that too. So Board Member Anderson, you're going to start us off with a question. Can you hear us? Board Member Anderson, you're up.
Thank you. I was on mute. I just want to say, Lizette, to you and the Chancellor, congrats. I mean, you did an amazing job working with the governor. Obviously, there was a vision on the part of the governor and so forth. My question to you is, as we go through knowing a little bit about the budget process and knowing what, already there's been some pushback on the governor's packages in various areas by the members of the legislature. What is your plan on how we're going to advocate? Are you going to do a lobbying day? And if so, Will it be by Zoom? And what is your plan to defend all the great things that the governor has put in the budget?
Great question, Board Member Anderson. Our engagement just began. So let me mention one first step. Around February 1st, the Department of Finance will release what is known as trailer bills. We'll get more details on some of the core aspects of various proposals. So we'll release that. Then we begin more in-depth engaging. That'll include a day, several if needed, where board members and our leadership engage with members of the legislature, the administration, to talk about these proposals and our alignment and our priorities. Our engagement also includes research, providing data to support the need and information to both inform the discussions by the administration and members of the legislature. So that'll also be a key part of our core engagement. And as Chancellor Oakley mentioned in his opening remarks, we will be putting the full weight of the Chancellor's office and all of our efforts to support this important work ahead.
I have Board Member Epstein and then Board Member Hall.
Thank you. I want to echo Darius's comment on how effective you were in getting such a great budget put together, and it was an excellent presentation as well, very clear and helpful. I have a couple of comments and then a couple of questions. The first, how many years has it been since the SCFF was first enacted?
The SCFF was enacted in 2018 as part of Assembly Bill 1809, so 4 years now.
Okay, so the hold harmless now is going to be pulled out all the way to 24-25. So that means that the colleges have had 6 full years to become familiar with it and to try and adapt to the benefits that it provides. So I just wanted to make that point. I'm make it, this is a very, very minor thing, but when I saw the circles with the number of staff and the number, and the number of students and stuff, I do think it's a little unfair to count the UC hospitals in the denominator there. I think if we're presenting this to others, we don't want to have an apples to oranges kind of thing. So I would suggest maybe modifying that to
Thank you.
Take out the hospitals. I know that's a lot of people. One question I had was, and I've raised this before, but I feel pretty strongly that the colleges ought to be making significant investments in online education because that's what our students need now that they're accustomed to it. They're going to want more of it. And I just want to know, in all of this budget, I saw there was 25 million for distance education. I understand there are maybe other funds that can be used for that. And is there any sense that the Chancellor's office is providing kind of strategic guidance to say, get ready for this transition because our competitors are going to be offering a lot more online courses and we ought to be doing it too?
Yeah, it's an important note that you present, Board Member. One of the key transitions that our colleges, again, are making or recognizing in the need for investment in technology. And so in many ways, that 25 million and 75 million one time is an initial investment in what we really see that's needed long term. There are other components of the system requests that were not quite funded that further support online education and preparing colleges and having what they now have is an online campus and a brick and mortar campus. And so we look forward to engaging with the administration, and they've been great partners in recognizing this work. We'll be leveraging their call to our colleges to offer a balance of online and in person. But this first step really is ensuring that those investments in technology focus on the security needs and modernizing so that when they engage in our classrooms, they're doing so in a secure platform. And then other next steps also include making sure that it's accessible to all communities, and that colleges have resources to sustain those subscriptions. So more to come, and this will be an area where we advocate and engage in partnership with our district.
Yeah, those things are important, but it's also really important for the faculty to start making changes to enable their students to take more online classes, and that involves curriculum design, and et cetera. Then there's the UC and CSU capacity to take our transfer students that we've talked about in the AB 928 implementation. I was curious what that money is used for, and I know that we weren't, or the Chancellor's Office did not support AB 928. But does this extra money make it helpful, and how are we going to adjust that to that?
Couple of points on that. The investment in AB 928 is one of those areas where we expect to see further details by way of trailer bills. So we are looking forward to seeing that come there and about February 1st. When the Chancellor's Office engaged and has continued to engage in transfer, we've highlighted that this means supporting additional data, supporting professional development for counselors, support for students. And so those are some of the pieces that we anticipate will be part of those details, but we'll share more as it becomes available.
Okay, and just the last thing is on the enrollment money, enrollment and re-engagement. How is that being distributed, and do we provide any policy direction, or is it totally at the discretion of the colleges?
That has been distributed with a formula that includes the FTES districts, as well as the declines that the district has seen. And so it's a combination of that. And we provide base resources, some base funds for all colleges to recognize buying power and rural status. So that's a little bit of the formula. And we'll engage with colleges on various strategies. We're starting to learn a lot from how colleges used investments in the 2021 budget, and we'll leverage those should this move forward in this budget to learn more and gather more data.
Yeah, it would be great to share best practices among other colleges for sure. Thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Hall, and then Vice President Costa and Board Member Terra-Silva.
I have three questions. One is, as you're going through all the increases for things, I thought, was there any money set aside for the Chancellor's Office? And you got into that. My question is, I think you said there's 1.4 million for 9 new positions. Is that a one-time funding issue, or is that continuing funding for 5 or 10 years or so?
We're grateful that those resources are ongoing to support the total cost of a position, which is salaries, benefits, pension, et cetera.
Okay. Second question is, what happens when the Prop 51 money dries up at some point?
Right now, there are current conversations about it, a possible bond, but essentially those we continue to submit requests and proposals to the administration. But once we have no bond resources, colleges need to end up having to look for local funds to support construction of their projects or further modernization, et cetera.
Okay. And then I noticed that we show 1.8 million students in the system now, where it used to be 2.1 or 2.2. As a result of the decline in enrollment, are we realizing any savings that we're not spending money we used to spend when we had 300,000 more students, and we're using that money for some other purpose now?
We'd have to analyze that further. I'm happy to connect with my research colleagues, Dr. Hetz, Dr. Lundy Wagner, to further explore that question, but I think it's an important one. We also are waiting for districts to submit their fall 2021 enrollment data to us by the end of the month so that we can continue to analyze what's happening on the ground.
Thank you.
Vice President Costa.
Thank you. I know that we're running long on time, but this is really important. So Lizette, good job. Good job, Eloy. You're right. This is historic. It really is never probably going to get much better than this as far as the money. I do think, there's clearly some opportunities here. And I know, Lizette, you said probably given the financial resources, there's more than you could list. But I do want to make a plug for, they gave the second year of the housing funding, but I think, it's transformational for our students. It's one time, which helps them with their multi-year. And we're beginning that work as a system. But again, I think a pitch can be made because per unit costs are so expensive in California. The other thing is transfer. When I read the 8 pages, the narrative, one through line is definitely transfer. And people are being polite, and I won't be since we have a regent in our midst. I think in part it's working with the segments to make it more seamless for our students. Everybody should be taking the ADT. It's really just that simple. There should be full portability for our students. And to Board Member Hall's point, they also have declining enrollment, and they're proposed to get some increases in enrollment funding. So they should really be accepting our students beyond what the master plan lays out. We are at a period of time in which, the ADT has proven wildly successful, and our students are very successful when they get there. So those are my pitches for, since there's a lot of money, 2 areas that I think really align with our vision for success, and that given the underpinning of the economics seem reasonable.
Thank you. 2 important areas. Absolutely.
Member Terra-Silva.
Thank you, President Haynes. First of all, I would like to commend the Chancellor's Office staff for continuing uplifting the voice of the students, faculty, staff, and admin, because truly, if it was not for continued advocacy on the behalf of everyone in the system, the budget would not look like this right now. And I'm so excited to see such a student-centered budget. So I would like to thank everyone for the hard work here. I'm really appreciative of the governor's budget, as it is clear that governor has made a clear commitment to higher education in California. As Chancellor Oakley highlighted in this report, there is a need to solidify the hybrid and online instructional capacity, as it is the accessible modality that meets the current and future student needs. To echo Board Member Epstein's comment, investment in technology unfortunately did not focus on investing money in barriers that prevent students from successfully accomplishing their educational goals. This past year, constant issues with internet connections undermined student participation in online classroom environment, effective learning, and access to services like financial aid and other support programs, which are essential for student success. It is really a conversation about equitable access. Colleges have been helping out students to address these needs through emergency fund dollars. And when one day the pandemic will be over, this need will remain, as a lot of the students' only option to access community college is through online classes. Stable and affordable internet and access to reliable technology to online and hybrid classrooms is an essential to current students as well as future community college students, as much as the textbook is. And I would like to ask Chancellor's team if there is any room to continue emphasizing low-cost internet access and technology as the barrier for our students and the need to invest in this area.
Absolutely. We're happy to continue elevating that. I think you highlight another need that has been mentioned in many of our tours and conversations with students. So we'll partner with you and students as well to continue making that message, as well as other affordability strategies such as more investments in housing, amongst others.
Thank you.
I don't see any other hands raised, so we can move to the state and federal update.
Right, thank you. Then I'll turn it over to my colleague, David O'Brien, who's going to walk through the state and federal update.
Thank you so much, Executive Vice Chancellor Navarrete. Good afternoon, President Haynes, Vice President Costa, and board members. I'm David O'Brien, Vice Chancellor of Government Relations, and I am proud to present alongside Executive Vice Chancellor Navarrete this item that we usually present together as a joint board item a couple of times a year around the time of the governor's January and May budget releases, in order to emphasize the partnership and advocacy, not just within the chancellor's office, but with many of our great external organizations and system partners, including our consultation council, that is so essential, and that is how we get budgets like the budget that we got this year. And so I'll go through the presentation as quickly as I can here, but want to be respectful of the fact that in addition to the governor's budget just coming out, we have a lot of new legislation getting released. And this is the time of year when we present to the board for your review and for discussion our legislative principles, which is a document that we've prepared every year and presented at the January board meeting for the last few years. So just as a quick reminder, government relations, or GR, advocates for legislative and policy changes consistent with the vision for success with the 2022-23 Students First System Budget and Legislative Proposal, and with our legislative principles. And the legislative principles, as I noted a second ago, are what helps guide our engagement on legislation on these matters. They're driven by a set of policy themes based on board precedent, current social and economic climate, COVID-19 and other factors, and likelihood of future changes or policy legislation. And in general, you're going to hear me say that a lot during this presentation. In general, we will engage on legislation related to community colleges or higher education that meets these three criteria we have set out here. That's statewide or system-wide in nature, where there's a clear, compelling justification for state intervention, and where the chancellor's office position is supported by available data and evidence. And so for 2022, our guiding principles are made up of two components. Our legislative priorities, which are the major top line issues on which we are anticipating engaging, which can include sponsoring legislation or just supporting legislation and making that our highest priority, as well as a legislative issue matrix. And for reference, all of this was included in the printed item, but it's not included in the PowerPoint today because the PowerPoint is intended to be a summary. So please do refer to the printed item that was included in the agenda for more detail. On the next slide, I will start off with an overview of our legislative advocacy priorities. Oh, next slide, please. I think we might have gone back one. Thank you. So these are some of the most ambitious legislative priorities the Chancellor's Office has pursued in a long time. It's a really critical year to not only pursue policy changes that will benefit students, advance the vision, and align to things like the governor's roadmap, but also to start to solidify and really clarify and reinforce some of the major policy gains we've made in recent years. For those of you that have heard, and it's been covered a lot in our state political news, redistricting and term limits are both going to have a major impact on the state legislature and our legislative champions over the next couple of years. And so the top couple of issues on which we'll likely engage in legislation include equitable placement and enrollment. We know obviously significant progress has been made since AB 705 went into effect, but we've identified in collaboration with some system partners a need to further clarify provisions in AB 705 and ensure that the full implementation that is being led by our Education Services Division and Dr. Aisha Lowe and her team is consistent with what's printed in the statute. There were some questions last year as Dr. Lowe's team prepared the memorandum and guidance to colleges that went out around full implementation and whether colleges are not just placing but enrolling students in transfer level English and math. And so we're pleased to note that we have been working with Assemblymember Jackie Irwin, the original author and champion of AB 705 and its follow-up legislation, AB 1805, on legislation that will make this clarification. We do not yet have text of that legislation to present to you. That's why this is just presented as a summary, but we do anticipate that by the next board meeting, we'll be able to discuss that in a little bit more detail, including any amendments or feedback we receive from our consultation council and system partners. We're also looking at legislation related to Assembly Bill 540 or AB 540. For quick refresher, this is the legislation that California passed over 20 years ago now that allows for eligible undocumented students and others to attend public institutions of higher education and pay the in-state resident tuition rate. There was follow-up legislation a little bit more recently that some of you may be familiar with, SB 68, that clarified that of the prior education a student has to qualify for that non-resident tuition exemption, they have to do 3 years. It used to just be 3 years of high school. Senate Bill 68 in 2017 said that of those 3 years, 2 years can be done at a community college. And in the last few years, we've started to hear increasing concern from our partners in the field, as well as immigration advocates and student advocates and others, that expansion of AB 540 or that additional legislation is not sufficiently meeting the needs of some of our adult and older learners, students who are a little bit older than the traditional student, who many of whom, because they have to do some form of prior, whether it's high school, community college combined, 3 years is the total. We're starting to hear more and more reports in the field of students doing 2 years at community college and then having to take a third year, even though they may already have the units, they may already have the associate's degree, but in order to transfer to a 4-year with that exemption so they can be considered a full resident and pay the in-state tuition rate. So we are working, again, with partners in the field and in the immigrants' rights community on legislation that will adjust that down to 2 years and clarify the provisions there so that that benefits more students in our system who are looking to transfer and who can transfer, reduce the number of units they're taking, and it's very consistent with the vision for success. Next slide, please. 2 more legislative priorities I want to highlight for you. And again, I want to emphasize that these aren't necessarily bills that we're sponsoring at this time. These are just priority issue areas that we're looking for in legislation and will advocate for this year. One of which Board Vice President Costa just absolutely nailed it with that discussion of transfer and the need for the ADT to be an actual true transfer guarantee. So whether it's through legislation or the budget process, one or another or both, we will be advocating for legislative and policy changes that enhance data sharing and analysis of the real barriers to transfer so that those pathways can comprise a true guarantee. And then the last one among our top line priority areas is one that's very familiar to this board that you have heard about for many years, and it's financial aid reform. You may recall last year the Cal Grant reform legislation that was sponsored by the California Student Aid Commission, on which I am honored to serve as a representative of this chancellor's office, recently having been reappointed by Governor Newsom. That legislation was vetoed. The governor cited cost concerns and a desire for policy changes of that magnitude to go through the budget process. And so we were pleased to learn that Assemblymember Jose Medina, who's one of the longtime champions of this issue, as well as Assemblymember Kevin McCarty and Senator Connie Leyva, do intend to work together on this issue again this year. And are pursuing legislation that, due to the size of the state budget surplus, may be even more ambitious than last year's legislation. Of course, we hope that's being done in conjunction with the administration and reflective of the governor's concerns in his veto message. But more importantly, on behalf of our students in the community colleges, our advocacy will focus on the actual total cost of attendance and the fact that the maximum Cal Grant for community college students has lost over 3/4 of its purchasing power over the years because it has not kept pace with inflation. For those of you that are familiar with the way the Cal Grant works, it increases for UC and CSU students every time tuition goes up at those segments. But we know, and we've seen all of the research and heard from our students time and time again, that tuition is not the biggest driver of our students' costs. It's those non-tuition costs, the total cost of attendance. We sometimes like to call it the total cost of success. And so we will be focusing our advocacy on ensuring that our students can have not just access to the Cal Grant, meaning do you get a grant, but is the grant sufficient to help cover your total cost of attendance and not going to stagnate like it has for over 50 years now. Move on to the next slide, which is just an overview of the sort of other major issues that you'll see if you open that document that I referenced that was in the agenda. This is by no means a comprehensive list of all of the issues that we're anticipating coming up in legislation this year. I partially like to include this visual just so It's clear to the board what a task our hardworking GR team and colleagues here at the Chancellor's Office have ahead of us as we look to a very ambitious legislative agenda. But if you do look at that document, you'll see that there's a short statement next to each of these issues, sort of outlining when and where we might support or stay neutral on a certain issue and why. And let me just emphasize before we move on that while the purpose of this legislative principles document that has been presented to you today is to outline or to guide when we will and won't take official positions on legislation, it does not obligate us to take a position on every individual piece of legislation that is relevant to the community colleges. I think even with the new positions Governor Newsom is proposing in his very generous budget for the Chancellor's Office, we probably don't have the capacity to engage on every single relevant piece of legislation. So each bill and proposal will still be assessed on its merits and weighed against critical factors like availability of resources and staff, political considerations, and alignment to the vision for success. All right, I'm going to keep us moving. Next slide, please. This is just a quick update. The state update, advocacy, where we are at this point in time. The legislature has reconvened for the second year of our 2-year session. They reconvened on January 3rd. Members have started moving into what's being called the swing space, which is the new office building built just behind the legislative office building a couple of blocks from here. I just looked out my window. I can't see it. I think it's the view from the other windows here at the Chancellor's Office. But the state capitol is currently undergoing major renovations. So just be aware of that if you have any visits with members of the legislature or staff or planning on visiting the Capitol. During the second year of 2-year sessions, the legislature has actually a pretty busy first couple of months because what they're doing, in addition to introducing new bills, which they have until February 18th to do, they're also dispensing of or dealing with bills that were introduced last year but didn't make it, which we sometimes call 2-year bills. And they have until a week from today, January 31st, for each bill to pass, each 2-year bill to pass the House it was introduced in. And as of the time of this slide, I think it's actually gone up. There were over 70 2-year and newly introduced bills that are estimated to have a direct impact on the California community colleges or the Chancellor's Office, with many, many more to come in the coming weeks. And we'll provide updates to you on all of those at future board meetings. On the next couple of slides, so we can go ahead one slide, I will provide a quick update on a couple of bills that we've already adopted a position on and discussed with Consultation Council, as is our practice. Assembly Bill 1187 is a 2-year bill introduced by Assemblymember Jackie Irwin relating to supervised tutoring. This is somewhat thematically in line with AB 705 and equitable placement, which, as I mentioned, Assemblymember Irwin has obviously been the biggest state champion on and a true leader on. And this legislation would provide that supervised tutoring, which is a form of structured tutoring available to students who are determined to have a lesser likelihood of success in certain, usually transfer level courses. Supervised tutoring for all credit and non-credit courses is eligible for state apportionment funding. This is an issue that this Assembly member, as well as the Chancellor's Office, have been grappling with and dealing with for a few years now. We are supporting this legislation while anticipating working with the Assembly member's office to take a look at the cost impact of it, because once you make something eligible for state apportionment funding, it becomes a potential cost pressure to Prop 98 of the general fund. But we're supporting it in the meantime and continue to work with the Assembly member's office and thank her for her leadership on this. Next slide, please. The other bill that we've already taken a position on this year that's very much in line with the vision for success, the roadmap, and the priorities that the Chancellor's Office and the board have had the past few years has to do with the CalFresh program, which is the state's version of SNAP, the federal program that used to be called food stamps. It's federal food assistance. This is legislation, Senate Bill 641 by Senator Nancy Skinner, who's the chair of the Senate Budget Committee. And it's actually following up on a working group that was established a few years ago to look at hunger on college campuses in California. It's really important and critical legislation that enacts some new data sharing expectations for the California Department of Social Services, who operates the CalFresh program in California. Without going into too much detail, because it could take up our entire board meeting, there are a lot of restrictions that are very arbitrary and discriminatory for college students nationwide to receive federal food assistance. They're enacted through something called the Student Eligibility Rule, which we've started to see a lot of movement, including a little bit in Congress, and thankfully some from the Biden administration to loosen that rule in recent years. But one way to do that is for colleges to designate certain programs as being likely to lead to a student having a greater chance of being employed. And this is legislation that is designed to help identify those programs and ensure that the Department of Social Services is sharing that data with partners, including the Chancellor's Office and our local campuses. So we're pleased to support that. And then on the next slide, excuse me, I won't go into detail about these, just wanted to give you the quick snapshot here of the sort of range of issues that we're dealing with at this point, but there are several other high priority bills that we're already seeing moving through the legislature related to things like dual enrollment, the faculty obligation number or FON, as well as student housing, which Executive Vice Chancellor Navarrete mentioned as being part of the budget as well. So I'm going to move on to the next slide, which is a brief federal update that I'll just give verbally because things are moving too quickly on the federal front to put them in a slide that would be ready. Next month, the Chancellor's Office and Board of Governors will engage in our annual federal advocacy visits. Those will again be virtual. This year, we had hoped up until about a month ago, a little over a month ago, that we would be able to fly out to Washington, D.C. and have some of those meetings in person. But due to the Omicron variant of COVID and desire to be cautious, a lot of members of Congress offices informed us that they would not be taking in-person meetings at this time. And in the interest of not spending state funds to fly out to Washington, D.C. and sit in a hotel and take virtual meetings that we can take from here in California, we did decide to postpone it. However, to our board members that we know we're looking forward to attending with us, we want to thank you for your participation in our virtual advocacy meetings, which we know sometimes involve waking up very early in the morning due to the 3-hour time change with Washington, D.C. And to let you know that we are tentatively hoping that it will be safe and possible to postpone our virtual advocacy visit to Washington to later this spring or later this year. That concludes the state and federal update, but of course, happy to take any questions from board members.
Thank you, Vice Chancellor O'Brien. I see one hand up, two hands up. I just want to note the time. It's 4:49, but I do want to get the questions answered if we can. So Board Member Perry and then Board Member Epstein.
Thank you. Thanks, Vice Chancellor O'Brien. I am asking this question as a placeholder given the time, given it's 4:49. May we sort of take a big look at our Cal Grant advocacy strategy and finding potentially some new allies and potentially even reframing it? It's so important, but we obviously hit roadblocks last time. So is that a discussion we can have with you and to sort of, look at it, take a fresh look, and again, potentially engage new allies and others. And you don't have to lay out the strategy right now, but as I said, I want to put that out there right now.
Of course, and I will just say again, also looking at the time, that is a great question, board member. You're absolutely right. And one thing I will note is that the new research on the economic benefits of investment in California community colleges will go a long way towards helping us make that case. If it's clear to legislators that investing additional state funds in helping our students afford and succeed in their higher education goals pays off, to society, to the state, to the public in so many more ways than one. So yes, thank you for that. And that will absolutely be a discussion we have.
Sure, and one last point, and then I promise that's it. And if our ADT students are performing exceptionally well, we certainly want to do everything we can to remove the barriers for them to have that opportunity. So there's a myriad of things. Okay, stopping now so that my fellow BOG members are still speaking to me by the next meeting.
Thank you. Board Member Epstein.
Thanks. And I have to admit, David, I'm very disappointed with your presentation because we've had a long meeting and very few laughs. And you almost always have a joke in your presentation. And I just didn't hear one today. And it was a huge disappointment, but I'll get over it. The one thing, I'm like a dog with a bone on this online education. And I was looking at the issue, the legislative issues matrix, and I was trying to find the right spot for that to make that part of our strategy. And I don't know if it fits in access or maybe in equitable classroom environment. Maybe the word classroom is getting to be obsolete. But incorporating also what Member Tarasova said, I think we really need to have an issue of preparing for the world of the future, which is here already. And we were woefully unprepared when COVID hit. I mean, fewer than half of the colleges even participated in the online education initiative. And even the ones that didn't have a ton of classes on it. And so we're way behind, or we started way behind. I know they accelerated quickly and did the best they could, but we really need to make this a priority because that's the way the world's going to be. And if we are not there, they're going to go to a lot of other online colleges rather than ours.
I will just say, board member, you're absolutely correct on that. And I think we can maybe work with you or have an offline discussion about how to work that into our principles. And on the humor, I'm tempted to say that if you move my item earlier and I'm not rushing through a 4:45 presentation, you might get more jokes. But then the downside is I risk displacing some of the amazing stories that we heard today, including from our students and from some of our colleges. And they're so much more important than I am, but thank you.
Well said. Now we're going to go to Vice President Costa.
Just super quick on the legislative issue matrix. You have access, but I think a click below that is actually enrollment and retention, which I think is really important for us as a system to have this year. And the reason I say that is kind of to Tom's point, we kind of have this speeding train in the pandemic, and it is kind of the canary in the coal mine as far as, I think it lays bare some of the structural issues that our students face in a different way because of the pandemic. And I think there are things we can do in this space that could potentially help us further on down the road. And I think we need to kind of have that conversation with the legislature. And it's slightly related, but different than access, in my opinion.
I'm going to assume that we don't need a response from that comment. And we do need to have public comment at this point.
The public comment period for item 6.5 is now open. Please use the raise hand feature to make a comment on this item. If you're calling into the meeting, press *9. You'll have a maximum of 3 minutes. We did not receive any written comments on this item, and there are some hands raised, so I will hand it over to Gary.
Our first speaker will be Jeffrey Baum. You have control of your mic and can address the board.
Good afternoon, President Haynes, Vice President Costa, Chancellor Oakley, and members of the Board of Governors. First off, I would like to say welcome back, Chancellor Oakley. We're delighted to have you back in California, and want to also express our deep appreciation to Deputy Chancellor Gonzalez for her leadership over the past year. We salute and applaud the board for its leadership and advocacy, and the governor for being visionary in the budget and the resources that are being directed toward our students, and especially with a focus on college affordability. And I credit Chancellor Oakley with this going back years, focusing on the total cost of college, those external factors that we don't control, the cost of housing, the cost of healthcare, the cost of transportation. However, we are concerned, and in my role as Executive Director of Michelson Philanthropies and the Michelson Center for Public Policy, are concerned that there needs to be more focus on the costs that we do control as a system. And primarily, one of those, we've controlled the cost of tuition, but we also need to control the cost of instructional materials, the textbooks and other materials that students are required to purchase. And there was no acknowledgement of that during the presentation. And don't take our word for it. 2 weeks ago today, even Governor Newsom in his budget statement, quote, said, "We're going after the textbook racket. You know who you are. It's usurious and outrageous what you charge and what you've gotten away with." Our students are being victimized. We have the power as a system to develop ways to find alternative pathways that don't cost students so much. The governor put forth $115 million in last year's budget that was passed. The system now is responsible for implementing that. And we will join with you in advocating for more sufficient funding and staffing. In fact, as our foundation is joining with a coalition of philanthropies to fund a position within the chancellor's office in partnership with the foundation, so that there will be at least one extra body over the next 2 years to help implement that $115 million. And I call on the board to ensure that that $115 million yields tangible benefits for our students, so that we can at least take that aspect of costs and make college more affordable for them. Thank you, and keep up the great work. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeffrey.
Our next speaker is Morris Rodriguez. You have control of your mic and can address the board.
All right, thank you. And thank you, board, for your leadership. I'm Morris Rodriguez, and I'm the current president of ACBO. I also serve as Vice President of Administrative Services at Mount San Antonio College. In the community college system ask, there was a incorporation of a base increase and STRS and PERS, help with STRS and PERS. That wasn't addressed in the governor's budget, so I'd like to talk about that a little bit. There's been upward pressure on operational costs for many years. I actually used to be a math instructor many years ago, where I had a whiteboard, a chalkboard, and an overhead projector. And now it's just how we operate the class is significantly different. It's been amplified as we come out of the pandemic. I've heard some discussion today on that, and I'm glad to hear it. So now we're serving colleges in both online and face-to-face modes, and we need to at the same time, make improvements on the goals outlined in the vision for success. Colleges need the ongoing additional operational funding that gives them the latitude to expend dollars in the ways that meet local needs for that improvement. So an example, for instance, is at our college, and many colleges are doing, to serve students, is to provide laptop or have laptop loaner programs, where at our college, we've provided thousands of laptops, as well as the support needed to maintain and update those laptops. This is the type of thing that, coming out post-pandemic, will be extremely important to maintain when federal funding goes away. So there are a number of initiatives that colleges have learned and developed best practices for as they come out of the pandemic that work best for their different colleges as we serve those students. And that operating funding will be really important to serve those students. The STRS and PERS rate increases that weren't answered in relation to the employer contribution of STRS and PERS, that will next year, as it stands, will go in and also sort of exacerbate the problem of the operational money that colleges have. So I would just hope that the board consider continuing to push for above COLA on the base to help with those operational increases, to operate as sort of dual colleges coming out of this, serving both online and face-to-face students, and then also to hopefully continue to push for solutions on STRS and PERS. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, our next speaker is Willie Duncan. You have control of your mic and can address the board.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Board President Haynes, board members, Chancellor Oakley, and a special shout out to student trustee Tarasova, who I'm extremely proud of as a student at Sierra College. I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today. As was mentioned, my name is Willie Duncan. I'm the superintendent president at Sierra College. Today I'm here as the chair of the CEO Student-Centered Funding Formula Task Force. I would agree with the comments that I've heard today that this is a historic budget for California community colleges, and it deserves our support. I think it recognizes the vital role that our colleges are playing in the lives of our students. And I would, however, have a few comments regarding some of the specific items. First, I would strongly support the governor's hold harmless proposal. It reflects the biggest ask of the task force this year. It eliminates the fiscal cliff that many of our colleges were facing, and it also allows for full implementation of the funding formula over time. I would support a higher base funding increase for colleges, as our last speaker just mentioned. The system's request included a $500 million basic allocation increase for technology. And I appreciate the 25 million ongoing and the 75 million one time for technology, but it's not nearly enough. As Board Member Epstein pointed out earlier, our campuses have all significantly increased our reliance on technology throughout the pandemic. We're operating both in-person and virtual campuses. And we need more staff and the ability to invest in more of our technology in order to maintain this long term, in order to be able to expand those services and quality of online instruction for our students. Additionally, the cyber threat to our campuses has probably never been greater. As a campus ourselves that was recently hit with a cyber attack, I can tell you that the investment is not thousands or hundreds of thousands, it's millions that is needed per campus in order for us to boost our defense, bring in the staff and technology that we need in order to protect ourselves and protect our students. I would also advocate, as our previous speaker did, that we advocate to address the rising pension costs for our districts. We're, obviously facing extreme pension cost increases. Yes. The state used one-time funds 2 years ago to help mitigate pension cost increases. And I would argue that's a good investment. Without some support in this area, many of our colleges are estimating that this will eat up 30 to 40% of their COLA for this year. And then the last thing I wanted to mention was that I would request that the chancellor either convene a work group or work with an existing body, maybe fiscal standards, to analyze the impacts.
Thank you so much for your comment.
Thank you.
Next, we have Evan Hawkins. You have control of your mic and can address the board.
Thank you. Good afternoon, President Haynes, Vice President Costa, Chancellor Oakley, and members of the Board of Governors. My name is Evan Hawkins. I'm the Executive Director for the Faculty Association at California Community Colleges. FAC is grateful for the Governor's budget proposal as it greatly increases funding for our colleges, and we're grateful for the Chancellor's Office for its continued advocacy partnership to boost our system's overall funding. There's of course much to like in this budget, as has been mentioned, including increased funding for student basic needs, student services, and other very important investments. We want to highlight the proposal for $200 million for part-time faculty healthcare. This is a bold and much needed investment that will significantly benefit our part-time faculty, who make up the majority of the faculty in our system. For too long, many of our educators have had to sacrifice proper healthcare coverage to teach in our system. So we encourage the Board of Governors to support this proposal in the governor's budget. Additionally, FAC is sponsoring or co-sponsoring a number of bills in this legislative session, including Assembly Bill 1505, which was mentioned earlier, to rebench the FON. And also, we will be sponsoring a bill that would require colleges to allow students and faculty to change their legal first names on outward-facing software to chosen names to avoid being dead named. We look forward to working with the Chancellor's Office and the Board of Governors on these issues. Thank you.
We have 3 more hands raised, just so you know, President Haynes. Next, we have Jose Fierro. You have control of your mic and can address the board.
Good afternoon, Board of Governors and members of the Chancellor's Office. It's good to be here virtually with you today. My name is Jose Fierro, President Superintendent at Cerritos College and President-elect for the CEO Board of the League. The League is thankful for the Governor's budget and its proposed investment, including the proposed changes to the Student Center funding formula, which will help districts on whole harmless avoid a financial cliff. We recognize that enrollment data is still pending and that the data will better inform future reforms. We look forward to working with the Board of Governors to help address any changes that may be needed in the future to help support our colleges and their students. We also want to thank the Governor for his willingness to address our college's significant infrastructure needs in this budget and last year's budget. These funds are critically important for the health and safety of our students, faculty, and administrators during the pandemic. The funds also keep pace with the changing instructional needs as our technology changes. Finally, while we are appreciative of the governor's budget and its investment in CalPERS and STAIRS, we notice that it is limited to the state share of the pension liability. Should additional funds become available in May, we will urge the Board of Governors to advocate for a buy down on the increased employer side pension obligation. Thank you so much for your time, and we are happy to collaborate with you in the future.
Next, we have Joe Wise. You have control of your mic and can address the board.
Thank you. My name is Joe Wise, Superintendent President of Shasta College in Reading. And I'm happy to greet the Board of Governors, President Haynes, Vice President Acosta, and Chancellor Oakley. I'll just add briefly to the comments I've been hearing and express support for the governor's proposal to extend the hold harmless to 24-25. I agree it does solve a major problem of uncertainty for a portion of our districts and is good for our system. I do think work may remain for the rest of us who are currently above the hold harmless, but would not be without the emergency protections currently in place, to think of creative ways to bring that kind of certainty to the rest of the districts as well. And I'm hopeful our partners, by putting our heads together, will be able to advocate for a good solution there. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And last, we have Dr. Barbara Dunseith or Dunsheath, I'm not positive. You have control of your mic and can address the board.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. So first of all, welcome, and it is Barbara Dunsheath. I am a Board of Trustees member for the North Orange County Community College District. So we have Fullerton College, Cypress College, and a large school of continuing education. Appreciate being here with President Haynes, Vice President Costa, Chancellor Oakley. Know you around the block several different times, so appreciate being here. I'm here on behalf today of the CCCT board. The league, I have 3 points to make. First off, the league is very happy and believes that California can move from a K-shaped economy where only a few can benefit to an E-shaped or equity shape where all can participate and prosper. And we believe very strongly that community colleges are poised to uniquely make that happen. Second point is we appreciate the governor's proposed cost of living adjustment and funding for enrollment growth, which is going to help out our colleges tremendously. But as several other speakers today have mentioned, that should more revenues be available in May, the league urges an additional unallocated increase to the base. And these funds would help be used for locally determined needs to help achieve the equity and success that is very much a part of the vision of success. And my last point is we appreciate the governor's investment in financial aid for community college students with the $100 million for the Student Success Completion Grant Program and the additional $10 million for financial aid administration. And we recognize that financial aid is critical to the twin goals of equity and success. We want to encourage the conversations on Cal Grant reform. Again, I think that was mentioned, to continue as equity is needed to address the total cost of attendance. So thank you very much for your time. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
And we have no other hands raised at this time, President Haynes.
Very good. Thank you. So board members, we are now at board member reports. I do not want to stop you from having a board member's report. I want to note that it's 11 minutes after 5 and that we still have public forum. But anyone who has a burning desire, please raise your hand. Okay, board member Tarasova.
Thank you for this opportunity, President Haynes. I missed the opportunity last time, so I'm going to redeem myself this time with my report. In my report, I would like to express the gratitude for unique opportunity and take a moment to reflect on what I have learned from the students during the Chancellor's Student Center listening tour. During my visits to all the colleges, I was able to not just listen, but engage with students in a dialogue about student persistence and success. I shall say that the typical California Community College online student is often managing quite a lot, whether they are located as far north as Lassen Community College or as close to the border as San Diego Community College. Some of the re-emerging topics are high cost of textbooks, necessary ongoing investment in basic needs centers, need to dismantle the old structures through DEI training and professional development to make a change in the classroom. From all community colleges that I have visited, I have heard loud and clear that our students are struggling with their mental health as a result of the pandemic. Although there are some mental health centers and services provided at community colleges, or some counselors providing those services, it is still far behind from what students actually need. I have had the opportunity to talk to young woman who has 3 kids and relied on the CalWORKs while struggling to continue taking her classes due to her mental health issues. It has been heartbreaking, but also eye-opening to see with what students are wrestling with. Being on campus and having those in-person conversations highlights the reality behind the survey conducted by Student Senate at California Community Colleges, indicating that 68% of students face higher level of anxiety, stress, depression, and other mental distress. Moreover, resolutions have been passed by student leaders all across the state, highlighting the urgent need to enhance mental health literacy and reduce stigma and access. Through these tours, we know that our students have experienced so much. We cannot unlock students' potential unless we also address the needs they bring with them to the classroom each day. As a system, it is our responsibility to ensure that we are helping to provide to students the services that will help build a strong social and emotional foundation so that they can also excel academically. With that, I'm so grateful for every story each of the students have shared with me, and I'm really looking forward to work together with the Chancellor's Office team to present a student-centered and student-led resolution on mental health during the next meeting. Moreover, for those board members who were unable to attend colleges personally, online student forums are organized by SSCCC to continue engaging with students all across the state. The first forum will take place on January 25th online and will be dedicated to basic needs. So while this is going to be the first one, but not the least one, so there's going to be many more other topics covered at the different dates.
Thank you so much for that report. Board Member Elizondo.
I think good evening now. So, and thank you everybody for a good meeting. I'm gonna cut most of my things I wanted to touch on and just mostly, I have a request of the Chancellor's Office. So I'll leave it with that. I've been working with several colleges, including my own at Santa Monica College, who've been struggling to find a system for testing and tracking COVID cases on campus. And I really think it's important that the Chancellor's Office look at potentially system-wide contracts similar to those we did with Zoom and other companies throughout the pandemic. I know it's not unique to Santa Monica College in this struggle, and other colleges are probably facing the same situation where they're trying to figure out how to test students, how to track cases, how to manage outbreaks. As we're moving through the pandemic, I do believe we're moving into a new phase of management, not just prevention. And I think it's important that the Chancellor's Office and the statewide level take a position that encourages colleges and assists them through this new world we live in. So with that, I'll conclude my comment.
Thank you. With that said, then we're going to move into public forum.
Public forum is now open. Please use the raise hand feature to make a comment to the board. If you are calling into the meeting, press *9. You'll have a maximum of 3 minutes. We did receive one written comment on this item, and I will hand it over to Christina for the details.
President Haynes, for public forum, there was one written comment received.
This comment is posted to the board agenda for viewing. My colleague Gary will now call on those who wish to provide live verbal comment to the board. Thank you.
We do have several hands raised. The first hand I see is Ornit Lamani Pressert. You have control of your microphone and can address the board.
Thank you. My name is Auronit Limani Pressert. Good evening. So again, my name is Auronit Limani Pressert. I'm a tenured ESL faculty member at American River College. Thank you for this opportunity. I would like to comment on agenda item 4.4 ESL assessments, as I missed that item due to a meeting. First of all, I would like to thank you, the board, for your support in approving the item. ESL assessment instruments are crucial to students to be in a class that would maximize the probability that they would succeed in classes in their majors and move on to reach their career goal, educational goal. I know that because my background is very similar to theirs. I was born and raised in a working class family in Thailand where my mother never received formal education and my father received only 4 years of schooling. It is very important that our immigrant students, refugee students have the assessment that would help them to choose a class that would help them best. While I appreciate the approval of the item, I would like to note that we still need an appropriate ESL listening assessment instrument for community colleges. As you can see on the item today, on item 4.4, the CASA's listening is not appropriate for community colleges. It is, I know that because I taught in adult school and we use CASAs. So we still need to have an appropriate ESL listening assessment tool for community colleges. I would like to request that the board support the effort to approve an ESL listening assessment instrument as soon as possible so that our immigrant and refugee students can be in the right class that can help them to succeed as soon as possible. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you.
Next, we have Rebecca Dahl. You have control of your mic and can address the board.
Yeah, hi, I'm calling in for, I think, the third or fourth meeting in a row to talk to you about your absolutely abhorrent COVID policies that you have encouraged all of your districts to implement. You talk about enrollment and retention. Are you joking? There are students who were in their first class last week at Ventura County Community Colleges, and they were told to drop their in-person classes if they didn't have the vaccine. None of their professors mentioned that there was an exemption. God forbid they direct them to where to fill in the religious exemption. God forbid that Ventura County Community College District update their website and remove the illegal religious leader form that they currently have. You talk about textbooks and access to textbooks and you worry about the money. You don't even let students walk on campus to use the college bookstore to pick up their books. The bigotry that this board voted on and sent out to districts is disgusting. You should be embarrassed with what you are doing. Did any of you have to have a PCR test and shove a stick up your nose or down the back of your throat to attend the Zoom meeting? Because you have colleges that want to know students' vaccine status to attend online classes. You have colleges that are demanding weekly PCR tests on campus for students who are online only. This is not about safety. If it was, you would be testing every student and every faculty because the vaccine doesn't work. You are currently bullying, intimidating, and discriminating against students who, for whatever reason, cannot or choose not to get the vaccine. And yet you all sit there like with smiles on your face, proud of yourselves for doing this. And I don't get it. These students, they can go to a concert, they can go to the store, they can go shopping, they can go to the beach, they can go to a theme park, But God forbid they could turn up to their community college to be in a class wearing a mask and actually get instruction. Many of your community colleges have stricter vaccine policies than the Cal States and the UCs who actually have on-campus housing. The discrimination needs to stop. You let immigrants without legal status come to campus, but you won't let a legal citizen come to campus unless they follow your instructions. It's nuts. It's all about control. All about control. You don't care about the students. If you did, you would let these freshmen who spent the last 2 years without any in-person instruction on campus. Online is not the same. Stop the discrimination.
Our next speaker is Mohammed Khan. You have control of your mic and can address the board.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mohammed Khan, and I'm here to talk about the elimination of pre-college level math classes in Los Rios. The thing is, I find it difficult and I find it compelled to speak about it because I've been struggling with something. I didn't have a math background. I did my O-levels and I didn't take math. I didn't know how important it is. And that one wrong decision led me to 10 years just keeping in accounting because I didn't find any way out until I reached Los Rios colleges. When I reached here, I could build my math from elementary geometry, intermediate algebra, followed by trigonometry with college algebra. That took me like a year. And after that, that's the only reason I'm here. I'm majoring in computer science and I'm in my last semester for associate's degree from here. And I plan to go on to the Sacramento State University and make a career out of it. If you're not going to provide these opportunities, I don't know, for whatever reason, there's a gap. If the bridge doesn't exist anymore, how will people cross over? So it's like a beacon of hope for those who don't have everything. And you expect everybody to just be college ready. I did my GED, that's mine. And then I did my assessment. And even though I'd admit, when I was doing the intermediate algebra math 120, it was like, I know most of the stuff, but now when I'm at the end of my journey, I feel that it was necessary to bring me where I am. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, the username I see is Chandra. You have control of your mic and can address the board.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. My name is Chandra Schreck. I'm a student of the Los Rios Community College District, specifically Folsom Lake and American River Colleges. And I'm also here to comment on the elimination of the pre-college level math classes in the Los Rios Community College District. That's being proposed for the fall of 2022 due to the implementation of AB 705. I believe that this would be a very bad move by the college district that would result in denying an education to the very people to whom the community college has traditionally been so valuable. I have a very unique perspective as both a student of the colleges and also a high school educator working with special education students. I re-entered college in January of 2020 after a 25-year-long gap year to take a class for fun and just to explore new career possibilities. I quite literally flipped through the Folsom Lake College catalog during my work as a high school educator, working with my special education students in the Workability 1 program. I landed in an intro to computer science course, a far cry from my undergrad in communication studies from Sac State and my graduate degree in educational counseling. I never imagined that I would get a degree in computer science. I hadn't taken math since 1988. So when I saw the pre-calculus requirement as a prereq for the last computer science class, I honestly wasn't sure that I would actually be able to finish the degree. I had to take 3 math classes in order to fulfill that prerequisite. And I can tell you unequivocally that I would not have made it into the very last computer science class that I'm currently in had I not been able to start with my Math 100, move to Math 120, and finally complete Math 372, which is pre-calculus last semester. I'll be graduating with an Associate of Science in Computer Science this semester only because these courses were available to me in my work with high school students in the Workability program, which is our special education population. I helped many students prepare to enter community college. Most of them benefited greatly by having a pre-transfer level math in which to start their college journey. Taking this away from students of varying academic backgrounds is discriminatory and exclusionary. Students arrive at community college from a variety of backgrounds, and according to the Vision for Success of the Chancellor's Office,
Sandra.
students from, yes?
30 seconds.
Okay, students from all backgrounds should have a chance to succeed in reaching their goals. Removing these pre-transfer level courses from the Los Rios catalog does the exact opposite of this and will directly result in less students being able to reach their goals. I know this because I wouldn't be where I am today without those courses. Thank you.
Thank you.
President Haynes, we do have 3 more hands raised at this time, just letting you know. Next is Miriam Maslaihi. You have control of your mic and can address the board.
Hello, everyone. So thank you for choosing me to speak. I'm commenting regarding the item 4.4 ESL assessment. My name is Mariam Mosley. I'm from Iran. I'm an ESL student and a tutor at American River College. ESL assessments are important for ESL students to succeed in college classes. So we would like to thank the board for approving some ESL assessment instrument. Listening has a significant role to ESL students because we need to hear the word and it makes it easier to understand. It helps me to find a good job and help my family, especially be a productive citizen. We need an approved ESL listening assessment instrument. Please approve at least one soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next, we have Hannah Hind. You have control of your mic and can address the board.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Hello, everyone. My comment is on item 4.4 ESL assessment. I am Hind Hanna, originally from Iraq, and I am a former ESL student. First, I would like to thank the board for approving some of the ESL assessment instruments, which are important for ESL students to succeed in college classes. We need an approval for ESL listening instrument, assessment instruments, please. From my experience, it helped me to get the appropriate classes to my level and then to get a good job. I am working as an instructional assistant for the ESL Center. As a single mother, this job helped me to support my family and to become a productive citizen. Please approve one soon, please. And thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, we have Rachel Maxim. You have control of your mic and can address the board.
Thank you. I have a question for the board. I'd like to know what is being done to address the discriminatory COVID policies that are negatively affecting the student athletes who are being discriminated against because they have religious exemptions. These student athletes are being segregated and penalized, and this is an issue of stigma, mental health access, and equity. And so again, my question is, what is being done to address this? Thank you.
Thank you.
President Haynes, we have no other hands raised at this time.
Well, with that, I would like to thank the board members for hanging in with us. I really appreciate your attention and your questions. And I too want to officially welcome our Chancellor back and to thank our Deputy Chancellor for her service in his absence. And with that, we are adjourned.
Thank you so much for joining us. This concludes the meeting of the Board of Governors.